Well, we probably should, for the benefit of people who may not have seen the rest of the series. Okay.
Oh there.
Well, it's leverage night again. Um, I was thinking, for people who maybe haven't seen the other episodes, we should, at least before we get started, do a little rundown of the situation, where we've been, and who the characters are. But if people want to, catch up on your week first, feel free.
Okay. Ugh. Oh.
You have an odd definition of fun.
I think that was sarcasm.
Oh.
I
I
am
can
just
see how
now
that can be
posting this across
entertaining.
media.
That sounds about right, yeah. It doesn't work that way.
No, no, it doesn't. Oh, I did. I went to go take my mom to brunch on Easter, and I pulled up to the front of the house, pushed down on my brakes, and then my brake pedal decided to promptly lose all resistance and and plunge straight into the floorboard of my car.
Ooh.
And when finally was able to move my car and get it parked, there was a giant puddle of brake fluid on the ground. So I had to get my car towed into the dealership to get it taken care of. So that was fun.
Well, at least it happened just as you were arriving.
Well, yeah, my mom was just basically saying that she was glad it happened then and not like when I was right in front of like I was on the freeway or something.
Mhm. Still, yikes.
Yeah.
That would be nice. I don't think anybody gets the limelight. I think everybody's about the same size.
Just in case you were in doubt.
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
Baby steps. Well, before we start character intros, maybe I'll do a real quick rundown of the scenario for people who maybe haven't seen the game and or haven't seen the show. We are playing Leverage, the RPG, a sadly out-of-print game, although you can approximate it with Cortex Prime, but we are playing the OG version. It is based on the TV show Leverage, which aired from, I think, about 2008 or 9 to about 2012. It concerns the exploits of a group of thieves and con artists who decide that they're going to use their skills for good to go after people who are behaving unfairly, but in ways that they're getting away with. Not necessarily that they're all actually legal, but they've found ways to avoid any type of legal retribution. And so, for players here, our crew, they've got 3 jobs under their belts, and I'll let them tell you about their characters.
Okay, before I go, I need to ask the audience who just texted me, can you hear me now?
Somebody got a TV or something going in the background?
That would be guess.
Sorry, my mom was supposed to turn that off before this started, and she fell asleep.
It's okay. Okay, so we have audio now.
It's off. I fixed it.
Yes. It's not a stream on this channel unless we have something going weird. Okay,
That's
so
pretty much true all over.
yeah,
Kaden, do you want to start with your character
sure.
description?
My character is Delaney Balguer. He is the mastermind and thief of our little crew. His alias is Wayne Anderson because it's the most generic fucking name I could think of. He was always good at blending in, pretending to be other people, could talk his way in or out of almost any situation, was always able to pick pockets, plant ideas, and it got really, really easy, so that means he got really, really bored. So he decided, I'm going to push it, see how far I could take it, landed in jail several times, and eventually he decided, you know what, I'm going to start using my talents for good and stay in the shadows, so that way I get all of the challenge and none of the risk. He has 3 distinctions, which is that he is fun-loving, confident, and has one hell of a resting bitch face. He is also a real estate magnate, and his signature asset, which we have yet to use, is a multi-band police scanner.
Well, I'm hoping you may get a chance to use that tonight.
Huzzah! Alright, that's Delaney. Who wants to go next?
I'm bringing something up, so I need a second.
Looks like Rasputin's chewing, so how about Olive?
All right. My character is Richard Miller. Alias generally known as by other people as just Tricky Dick, as far as in the community, because he filters through various different aliases. He is a grifter with a secondary hitter. He has youthful appearance. He's learned how to pick up things by reading through and summarizing stuff quickly, and has a very independent streak. He has a talent for making costumes out of almost nothing. He's a master of disguise and knows a lot about various different cons and stuff like that. And I think that's about
Do
it.
you have a signature asset?
The ability to make costumes from next to nothing. That is my signature asset.
Yeah, remember they can be intangible.
Yeah.
Gas, you want to go next?
Yes, I will. So my character is Carlos Rojas.
The handsome bastard in the corner.
Yes. He grew up in Brooklyn. Well, his family was pretty poor. He didn't, but his mom made him go to school and do everything. Eventually, because of that, he went to school for finance. Eventually, wound his way into working on Wall Street. He realized soon after that all he was doing was making rich assholes richer, and decided, fuck that, and he went ahead and embezzled a shit ton of money from those same rich assholes, but threw it into a couple of holding companies and some blind trusts that he is not able to access, and thus he has none of the money from. And so, because of that, it's been really difficult to prove that he actually did it. But the IRS and the Federal Trade Commission are still pretty damn sure he did. They just can't prove it yet. And so he's taken a little bit of that money. The vast majority of that went to things like why am I brain farting on words tonight? Charities. Went to charities and stuff like that. So he doesn't even have it. But given that, and his distinction is modern day Robin Hood, smartest guy in the room, and he's the class clown. And his signature asset is a forgettable face, and which is why this week I actually have a picture. It is a composite drawing of what someone described him as looking at like one day, but they couldn't quite remember. So this may or may not be what Carlos actually looks like.
And that is why we made it the splash screen before we transitioned to our cam.
But I also did the artwork for that piece. So mighty proud of that. But also because of this whole smartest guy in the room thing, he likes to leave breadcrumbs, so to speak. So with the last name of Rojas, every single one of his aliases has to do with a color, and that's so when the feds or whoever is investigating what he does eventually start to come down the trail of clues and stuff, they're like, they basically come all these, color-coded aliases of people who did this and that and something else. And then everyone's in the room feeling stupid because they didn't see this happening before. And that is Carlos in a nutshell.
A usual suspects moment.
Uh-huh.
Which I believe leads us to you, our usual suspects.
Yeah, I am definitely a suspect. So I'm playing Martin Kale, hacker of the group, alias Farmhand, former farming worker turned hacker after his entire group that had been doing the jobs basically were getting screwed over. He's unkempt, disheveled, and known for just making weird gadgets out of cast-offs. He is literally behind the curve and proud of it. Oh, and he has his arch nemesis in the IRS. Well, let's go!
So I put in the Skulk chat channel links to the Roll Dice with Friends room. Reminder to everyone, please change your name in Roll Dice with Friends to your character's name. And also there's a link to the Google Sheet where we will keep track of distinctions and complications. And the free luck die is reset to D6. And without further ado, shall we get started?
I believe that we're ready to introduce our client.
Yes, so Delaney, you would have had a probably a Zoom call with your client while you guys were in Chicago, which is where your last job took place. And you'll be making just a little bit of a detour to a town in Wisconsin called Janesville. It is the 10th largest city in Wisconsin, so not super big. And that is where you're going to be meeting up with your next client. Why don't you tell everyone what you've learned about the person who has reached out to ask for your help?
All right, everybody got your notepads out?
Okay.
Our client is Calvin Cal Freeman. He spent the last 10 years in Chicago and Memphis before moving back to Janesville. During that time, he earned a degree in business, worked random jobs he didn't particularly like, eventually decided he wanted to be his own boss, so he moved back home and decided he was going to be an Uber driver, save up some money, and decide what to do next. But he recently learned that Janesville had banned Uber, largely thanks to the efforts of an owner of the ironically named Friendly Taxi Company named Jim Crane. Friendly has started a monopoly on the taxicab business in Janesville. No competitor manages to stay in business for long. Now, all these accidents look like simple mismanagement and everything else, so Cal started up a rival company named Silver Star Cabs. But turns out Crane plays dirty. First, a couple of burly drivers from Friendly dropped by, said, "Hey, we're here to deliver a warning." Cal kept going. Things started happening to the cars. First they got keyed, their license plates were stolen, and then suddenly it stepped up to sand in the gas tanks, nails in the tires. Cops have checked out all the incidents, but never found any solid evidence, so whoever it is knows how to cover their tracks. Cal started out with 6 cabs. He is down to 3 drivers, 3 cars. He is running out of time.
And Rasplin, you have played this scenario before, just in case you're thinking it sounds familiar. But you were playing a different character, and I'm sure this group is going to come up with different solutions.
Okay.
Do not let me set a cab on fire, because I can and will.
Funny you should mention that. Because as you guys get into Janesville, so Delaney, this all band police radio you have, is it in your car, or where do you keep it?
It's probably a small portable one, so I'm probably just listening to it constantly. It's probably in my pocket.
Okay. Who drives from Chicago to Janesville?
Who wants to be the
That's a
chauffeur?
good question.
Knowing Martin, he'll probably offer to drive as soon as we get the hell away from the Dan Ryan.
Do we trust Carlos to drive?
I mean,
that depends.
I can drive if you guys want to perpetuate a stereotype.
I was about to say, if we let you drive, are we going to be in a lowrider?
I was thinking once we get on the highway, as long as they're, away from any kind of foot traffic that might distract him.
That's all we need. Carlos driving and sees a skirt on the side of the road.
Or, I mean,
He sees a skirt, pair of tight pants, whatever.
That twink running down the main street.
hey, I am gonna say though, if I drive, I get to control the radio, and if I'm controlling the radio, we're either listening to heavy metal or Bonda.
Joke's on you. I control the car, and we have permanently fused the radio to NPR.
Damn it, the theme song's going in my head.
I figure, if you're really gonna try and fuse the radio, it's like, hey, we do have somebody who's good with old tech.
I would just wire it into someone else's MP3 player through the dashboard. Because that's the kind of thing
we
I
could
would
settle
do.
this really easy. We could just have the police band scanner running through the radio.
I like this idea because as you get near Janesville, you hear coming in through the police band scanner a report that there's been another incident involving friendly cabs. Involving Silver Star cabs. Yeah, Silver Star, they were down to three cars, 3 drivers. Sounds like now it's 2. Police responded to a call. Someone saw smoke going up from a scrapyard on the edge of town. Turns out there's a Silver Star cab there, been torched. Driver's been beaten unconscious. They're rushing him to the hospital.
Sounds like we get to play with crowbars with this one.
Hey, I love crowbars.
I love crowbars, and I'm the only one that's got any sort of hitter background.
I mean, crowbars are just as useful for a thief.
Yeah. We've got 2 thieves and we've got 2 masterminds. We could think of all sorts of uses for a crowbar.
I do not, sadly, have any way to turn old farm implements into weapons. Instead, I have ways to turn farm chemicals into explosives.
I'm sorry. Old farm implements are weapons.
Weapons.
Yes, and I am not good at wielding them. Except for farming.
We'll give you a trowel. You can give someone a jab. Okay, so do you guys want to go check out this cab?
Yeah, pull on
probably
up.
should.
Gonna pull up on it as we enter town. Just pull up on the crime scene.
Everybody's
Okay.
got their fake badges, right?
I mean, I still have mine left over from last week that I was flashing.
Yeah, I was supposed to say, because this is an active crime scene, so...
All right, so you arrive at the scene of the crime. You see there's police tape around the place. Looks like the fire's been put out. The wreck of the car is just smoking a little. The ambulance has apparently left with the injured driver. And there's 3 or 4 uniformed policemen milling around.
Alright, who can do the best CSI impression?
Hold on. Sorry, my throat's a little sore, so I can't do the before someone starts singing "Who Are You?"
No. That's Miami. That's the East Coast. We're close to the Midwest right now.
Yeah, but the only other one is the only other one I know of are New York and Vegas, and we're kind of in the middle of all those.
You know what? Listen to the unassuming hayseed to get information.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, that honestly blending in is something I think I can do.
Well, I mean,
You
it's
do
also a
have a little
scrapyard, so
familiarity.
they're going to expect someone big and burly.
Janesville is...
I'm
Yeah,
tall and
Janesville's
lanky.
about... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm not big and burly, I'm tall and lanky, but go on.
Yeah, Janesville is, I think, between 60 and 70,000 inhabitants, so it's not tiny, but it is definitely not a city.
And probably also surrounded by much smaller communities where an accent like mine is not out of place.
Absolutely not, and also cornfields.
Hey, sounds like your
so-
rural knowledge will come in handy.
Olive would like us to not forget the sheep. She has a new toy.
All right, well, it's your show, so what are you asking the cop?
Yeah, as you approach the one of the cops steps forward, preparing to say, sorry folks, crime scene. There's yellow tape,
That's the badge. Do
And
we
what
still
kind of
have-
badge are you? What kind of badge are you flashing, or what are you telling him?
I think this would be, given the vehicle, it would be ATF, correct? That I'm giving him?
Are you asking me?
We had a different plan of attack.
Are you saying that you're trying to pose as ATF?
Well, all right. Do we want to step it back a moment and decide what authority we are coming in as?
Are we coming in as authorities?
Well, why?
Well, they are probably going to try to keep you away from the scene otherwise.
Let's see. So if the
You also
ambulance is
don't all
gone,
have to get out.
yeah, if the ambulance is gone and this is initial cleanup still, that means forensics still has yet to get here.
It'd just be you'd probably be DOT, Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
You're looking into.
Yeah. The IDOT, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Or WDOT in this case.
Yep, sorry.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
Okay, well, you guys figured that out. My character's Richard's gonna get out and go kind of wander off a little bit to find items to put together as disguise.
Have fun.
Okay. It's a scrapyard. Go nuts.
Scrapyard, plenty of cars that got scrapped could still have clothes in them.
Yeah, true.
So
Remember,
probably
everybody
looking
has
for-
2 plot points. You can spend a plot point to create an asset for yourself.
So probably looking for like a, ideally like some sort of like a lab coat or maybe like a jumpsuit or something like that, which
I would
should be easy in the
suggest
scrapyard.
maybe finding coveralls. Because if we don't want to go in as authorities,
Jumpsuit coveralls.
yeah, the
same
easiest
thing.
way to get in is just pretend we work there.
Okay, yeah, there's a little structure not too far off where it's the sort of place where workers at the scrapyard might, for instance, keep their coveralls.
Well, I'm gonna walk in as if I work there, but my character, he doesn't have his cause not showing up in my coveralls. My character is literally just gonna be all choloed out, and he shows up and he's like, and he just walks up. Hey Holmes, what's going on? I'm late for work. Gotta let me in.
So hang on, let's backtrack for a moment, because you didn't really specify where you're putting the car.
Oh, I'm assuming we pulled up our car, like not right up on the scene. We pulled up and walked up because it's a lot easier. No one sees like whatever car it is. I'm assuming it's probably a fairly nice one. Just roll into town and show up at a crime scene immediately. That's not suspicious at all.
So Rasklin, do you want to be, or I should say Martin, do you want to arrive in a car?
I should arrive in a car moderate. Let's just say it's, I don't know, I show up in a Prius. They're common enough and not crazy to find at this point. Can we agree it would be a nice burner car, possibly literally for this case?
So what you could do is let out Carlos and Richard, like a ways away, where they can, if they want to try to find coveralls or make it look like they're coming from the that structure where the offices and so forth are, and then you go on. What is Delaney gonna do?
I have no idea at this point.
You could always stay in the car.
Well, hold on. Do we want to do this two-pronged again? Have 2 of us go in as employees and 2 of us go in as authorities?
Well, I guess part of the question is what is your goal here?
Well, first off, I want to figure out how this was done. Obviously, it was arson, but do they know what they used yet?
Actually, that's a good point. We don't necessarily have to gain access right now. Like, getting those coveralls might be good, so we have them in the future for something else. But right now, probably the best way to go is
And
if two of us pose as DOT, we can try to get the cops to give us information.
And is this the first time that it's happened at this particular scrapyard?
And we can also take some photos while we're close in like that, see if there's anything the cops are missing that we can review later.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to be clear, car's pulling up, Martin's getting out, rest of you staying in the car for now?
I'm getting out and finding the coveralls and preferably taking it, if we have a camera, taking it with me.
See, the reason I'm asking do we want to go in as authorities is because if Martin wants to go in under the cover of authority, then yeah, we're going to have to work in pairs, so then I'll go with him.
And
So
then
you're
I
doing-
can help. And then I can help. Oh, okay. So you're gonna go in with Martin and pretend to be the authorities. I guess then that leaves me paired up with Richard, and I can help him try to get inside undetected and maybe help him find whatever it is we're looking for.
Does Richard want to play nice, or does he want to be independent?
See, I'm going independent. I just walk off. I don't talk to. I'm like, okay, so we want to get in there. Okay.
Well,
We are
the reason I'm
frustrating our
asking,
fixer.
the reason I'm asking is because if you wait until they pull up and get out and flash the badges to get out of the car and walk away, the police are going to see you because you're right there.
Well, no, that's.
If you want to, if you
that's
want to
where-
try and sneak in the other way, you're going to have to get them to let you out earlier.
Which we can do.
Yeah, that's what I was. I thought we were kind of. We weren't like Caden said that we weren't pulling right up on them and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well, there were two schools of thought about that. One was don't pull right up, and the other was pull up in a plausible-looking car. So I'm trying to establish which of those is happening.
Well,
Okay, let
if they
me
pull up-
let me hedge this. I can smooth this over really quick. First off, we are not in any sort of fancy car. Maybe
Okay.
an SUV. Something passable, but isn't going to catch too much attention. We know that Richard wants to be independent, so we're going to let him out like a block back so that nobody sees him and he can go in the back way.
Okay.
Then we pull up, and now the question is, how do we want to approach this? Do we want to be workers or authorities? I can do either way, I just need to know which personality I'm slipping into.
I would say let's go authority because we can get up close, we can start taking photos, evidence, and no one will object to any observations we want to share or keep to ourselves. And generally, we will get observations shared with us.
Okay, now, Carlos, you said you're choloed out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're gonna do is we're gonna get out of the car, but I'm gonna let you out the same time that we did Richard.
Richard.
You're going to go around, see if anybody looks like they're in the shady gang business, see if they saw anything, see if you can get any information on street level.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay. So, now, Rask, if we're posing as authorities, who are we posing as?
I think the earlier suggestion of Department of Transportation is the way to go.
Okay,
Definitely better than my initial ATF idea.
cool. So that means that we don't have to worry about badges, we don't have to worry about suits. Just find a plausible looking lanyard and we'll be good.
Notepads look like we're here
Clipboard,
to do a
hard
job.
hat, we're good. High vis vest, I keep those in the trunk.
All right.
Alright, so you want to take the lead on asking them the questions?
Yep, I'll just strike forward, show the credentials. Just, and once they give me leave, I'll go ahead and approach the car, start taking photos. about after a few minutes, he'll say, "How long has the car been here?"
Not long. The driver apparently was, from what we can tell, lured out here to pick up a fare, and then they jumped him as soon as he got here.
Hey, of course.
Okay, so how does this company take their fares? Are they a call-in, or do they have an app?
It was an app.
Okay, that's good to know.
You can do either one, but this particular one, no. That way, I guess they figured no voice, nothing to trace.
Oh, how little they know. Okay, so this leads me to my questions. Do we know if there was a particular method? Was there gasoline? Anything weird about this situation? Or does it look like they just beat the guy and threw a road flare in the front seat?
Pretty much just beat the guy and threw a road flare in the front seat. Yeah, not a lot of finesse. Wanted to get it done, quick and dirty, I think. And well, I mean, he stops and says, "Look, I'm going to be straight with you. We've got our eye on a business rivalry here. We all kind of suspect that the head of the other cab company is behind this. We just can't catch him at it."
Okay, that's a good lead.
So
Any
his
other
goal
questions?
was probably just to put the car into a condition that it either wouldn't be drivable or at least wouldn't be presentable for, picking up fares.
And insurance takes a while to pay off on something like this.
Thermite! Sorry, what?
I just, start going through what looks like legit stuff, take a picture of the VIN, what's left of it after the fire, what looks like it could have been the label on the inside of the car for if it's an off-year model, what was once the odometer.
Yeah, I think once we're done with that, I think we got everything we need from here.
All right, let's move to the other group then. What are you guys doing?
Well, I'm assuming I'm by myself at this point.
And say I am actually going to get basically a set of coveralls or jumpsuit or something. Trying to find some bright colored duct tape, something that I can basically kind of cobble together a reasonable forensics work outfit. So
Okay.
coveralls to avoid any type of contamination, protective gloves, stuff like that, so that basically making a costume so that they're more likely to let me in.
You know what? Grab an extra set of coveralls. I think those are going to come in handy.
All right. It is early evening, so it's after working hours, which means that you're going to need to get into the building first. It does not have much at all in the way of security, just a basic, honestly, just a basic lock that opens with a regular key. If you can beat an 8, whoever wants to
Okay.
try and get in there.
I guess that would go with agility. That's usually lock picking.
Mm-hmm. And, it looks like they have a security camera, but you can deal with that, no problem.
Okay, and what are the distinctions? What do those roll as?
It's your choice, D4 or D8.
Okay.
If you choose to roll it as a D4, you immediately get a plot point. And could get another if it rolls a 1.
I'm just going to roll it as a D8.
Okay, which one are you rolling?
Because I am going to run... I'm actually going to run the fast book learning. Basically, scroll on my phone as far as the basics of lockpicking.
Okay.
So...
Honestly, you've probably picked locks before in your line of work. But sure.
Okay, and that the top 2 roll out to a 10.
Okay.
Yeah, wait a minute.
You
Didn't
get
you
in?
pick a lock in the first episode?
Me? No.
I thought you did.
All the lockpicking has been mine. It has been me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's usually the thief that does it.
Well, that's usually why we send in the thief when we have locks.
Well, the thief usually winds up doing the grifting, so...
Hey, it works.
So you do this and you realize as you open the door that the security camera is actually not working. In fact, it seems to be cracked, as if someone has hit it with something large and heavy.
Okay. So, probably... So, somebody else has been snooping around here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Quite possibly.
But what
Okay,
would they want
so-
in this particular shed?
What's that?
Well, I was going to say, okay, so for making my costume, do we roll that now, or is that rolled against them trying to see through the costume?
I'm going to say that you can just find what you need in here. It's going to be just a narrative thing. If you want the costume to be something you can actually roll dice for, you can create it as an asset later.
Okay. Because
But yeah,
basically I'm trying to get them to let me in as forensic so that they aren't questioning if I find something and pick it up.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's like a room with some lockers. There's an office. Nobody's here. You're able to move around at your leisure and put together what you need.
Okay.
And then, likewise, you can find an extra set of coveralls for Carlos.
Oh yeah, I'll probably pick up I'll probably set an extra set aside, but I'm not going to carry him with me. That would look way too suspicious. Because I'm going into the crime scene, so I don't want to be carrying an extra set of overalls. Like, oh hey, yeah, so somebody's going to be coming by and need to get dressed for work. That would be way too awkward.
Sure. So you can probably show up as the others are finishing their conversation.
Sounds like we
Yeah,
need to trade places, though.
I'm going to basically just, like I said, start going through a forensics style investigation, checking the cars, putting down little, like chalking little marks in, around certain areas and taking pictures, circle, mark, take a picture, and stuff like that. And while I'm doing that, I want to search through the car to see if his phone was dropped there, if nobody's recovered his phone, if any personal items are left in or around the car, stuff like that.
Okay. So you give it, I'm not even going to make you roll this. You give it a good look. You don't find anything that links to whoever might have done this.
Well, I mean, whoever did it, if the driver's phone is there, because I mean, I don't think he would have. there's chance that most people, most drivers will leave their phone in a cradle or something like that in the car.
Gotcha. I'm gonna say that the driver's phone is not in the car, but you find it about 10 feet away in the grass, or actually one of the policemen shouts out that they found the phone in the grass and waves you over to come take a look at it before they bag it up or anything.
Excellent. So that's part of the reason for the costume, is that it's like, I'll pull out like a Ziploc bag and, make sure that my hands, make sure that I have gloves on, and, snap a picture of where it was found with a number next to it, and basically just pop it in the bag. And okay, we'll get this. I'll get this to the lab, and we'll take a look and see what's going on with that. See if they can pull anything off of it.
Cool.
So that leaves us to check in on Carlos.
What have you been up to all this time, Carlos?
Yeah. So while I am all choloed out, living my best thug life, I'm basically gonna be wandering around. I'm gonna be kind of wandering around, trying to chat up some of the either some of like maybe some of the blue collar workers that might work around here, or if there are any kind of seedy looking elements standing about, like checking them out, seeing who they are, stuff like that.
Well, it's after hours, and it's the edge of town. So no staff is on the premises, and there aren't really any onlookers either, except you find, as you're wondering, that it looks like somebody has made a little sort of hut out of in between a couple of cars, and you find a very scared looking old homeless guy wedged back in there.
Okay.
You look in and he's like, "Don't hurt me!"
I'm gonna kind of bend down, so I'm squatting. I'm squatting and kind of sitting on my heels, right? And I'll just be like, I'm just like, whoa, don't worry, Holmes. Ain't that kind of deal. And I'm gonna reach back and I'm gonna pull out like a random granola or candy bar or something I got, sitting around. I'm just gonna hand it to him and say, "Hey, yo, you look like you can use this more than me." And I'll give him the like the granola bar or whatever, and I'll be like, "Hey, did you happen to see what happened over there? It's looking crazy."
He says, "You're not police, are you?"
I kind of look at him, kind of deadpan, and then I look down at myself, and I'm like, do I look like the 5-0 Holmes?
Hey, can't be sure. he is peeling the granola bar as he talks. Yeah. I mean, I saw it, but I ain't talking to no police. I ain't getting in trouble with Crane and his gang. No, sir. I don't want... I saw what happened to that guy. Don't want that.
Well, I look at him and go, and I'm like, well, how about you tell it to me? See, I got some friends. Maybe we can make that Crane guy, take a long walk off a very short pier.
I mean, there was 3 of them. They were waiting for the guy when he drove up. Just grabbed him, hauled him out of the car, started wailing on him with a piece of scrap metal, burned up his car. That's what happens when you cross Crane, man. I ain't crossing Crane.
Don't worry about it. I say, don't worry about it, I gotcha. And I say, you know, and I look at him and I go, I look at him, I go, and I pull out like a 20 out of my like back pocket. I'm like, yo, get yourself something decent. No booze. If I find out you bought booze, I'm coming back. Get yourself cleaned up. I'm gonna hand him the
Touch
20.
the stuff. Never touch it.
I hand him the 20, and I'm like, and I was never here. Got it?
Got it. And I'll tell you one more thing. They left in a friendly cab.
Well, from the sound of it, it's a not so friendly cab.
Back to Martin. You're chatting with the police, and one of them says, "Listen, you know, you must be new with the W dot, huh?"
Yeah, it's a living, but go on.
Between you and me, you probably better leave this to us. It's more than your job's worth to look into it.
Do I want to know?
If you don't know, you're kidding. You telling me you don't?
I think we both agreed I'm new.
People have put in complaints to the W dot before. They disappear down a black hole. And it's not hard to guess why. 'Cause Mrs. Jim Crane is the niece of the head of the Department of Transportation.
I give him a knowing look. I'll take that under advisement.
Yeah, I hope you last, but you stick your head out too far, you're liable to get it cut off, you know what I mean? Metaphorically.
Metaphorically. All right. And the rest of what I do there, now that he's giving me that giant chunk of information, I assume it's a guy? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to keep doing the standards of, and this is what we think the condition was. Oh God, why am I bothering? Because of all the fire damage, I'm just mostly shaking my head. And Martin has seen a tractor that's caught on fire before, so this isn't too insane. Less soy, though. Much less soy fire. I never liked soy being set on fire.
So you've probably got about what you can get at the site here. You might want to regroup, do some research, discuss a plan of approaching the situation.
Sounds good to me.
So I'm going to go ahead and start, wrapping up, just so it looks official. I will get the names of the officers who are there, blah, blah, blah.
I've already wandered off, just saying, hey, I'm gonna go piss. This is why wasn't I an insurance adjuster?
I'm gonna.
I'll do a, roll eyes, shake head, whereas, Martin knows he's off to actually follow some sort of actual lead.
So your main contact is Officer Matthew Delgado.
Okay, Matthew Delgado.
Yeah, once I've gotten everything, found everything that basically decided that I've found everything that I can, I'll give one of the officers a card with a number for a burner phone. Just saying, here, if you guys find anything else that we need, I'm probably gonna be the one that's assigned to this. So here's my number.
So, I'm gonna assume that as soon as we find out that I hear over the earbuds that that someone's niece might be involved at the Department of Transportation, Carlos immediately chimes over the radio. Niece, did I hear honeypot?
Okay, so, Richard, you back with us yet?
Yeah, we'll meet up, basically, kind of like outside and down the street a ways.
Yep, you can, from there you can head into Janesville proper. Get a room at a hotel, maybe.
Get a room at a hotel or a motel or something.
Yeah, because
and then
it's
change
after
into
hours.
something less conspicuous. Then change into something less conspicuous.
Okay, so while we're in the hotel room, so you found the phone, right?
Yeah.
Good. Is it functional?
I think
Well,
that's going to be a hacking roll to see what you can extract from the damaged phone.
Well, right now I just wanted to
Re-
see, can it turn on?
The real question is it a SIM card still
Yeah,
undamaged?
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Can it
No,
turn
the
on?
phone itself is totaled.
Yeah, but the SIM card. But if you take the SIM card out of the phone and put it into another compatible phone, you can access all of the same services and stuff because most of everything is saved on the SIM card.
Exactly, and that's what the hacking roll is going to be.
Yeah.
So tell me, what information are you looking for on the phone?
Well, the reason I asked if it was a call-in or an app is because if it's an app, that's going to have a record of the phone number that was contacted. So that way we have at least the name. Even if it's a burner, we can at least trace something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing I want to find out. Richard, you got anything else you
Alrighty.
want to pull off that phone?
Any GPS information?
Yeah, find out if he's been anywhere unusual in the past couple days.
GPS
Let's
information,
see. It's
yeah.
pretty damaged, so you're going to need to beat an 11 to get the information you want from the SIM card.
Martin, you ready?
Yep, I've got my dice there. What's my target?
11.
Oh, that's right. Well,
Okay. Yeah, you got everything. You know where this was. You surprisingly enough, the SIM card, the phone must have had a good case because the SIM card's barely damaged at all.
every so often something works out.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say with a roll like that, you are also able to check on the number, and it does seem to go to a burner phone, which is very suspicious. As a matter of fact, you can even work out that it was probably a spoofed number.
Makes sense.
And you can figure out what the number behind it was.
Then I will get that number.
Mm-hmm. So for now, you can't find any records on that phone, which suggests it's a burner. But if you were to actually find that phone, perhaps in an incriminating place, you would have some excellent evidence of who might have been involved in setting this up.
Okay, so reviewing
Now-
what we know. So we know
Okay.
Friendly is suspected by the cops already.
Mm-hmm.
We have the spoof number. And we haven't talked to the driver yet. But is he even
Driver's in the
condition
hospital.
to speak? Well, we know he's in the hospital, but is he in any condition to speak?
Well, that you might be able to find out by monitoring the police radio.
Probably a good idea for us to turn that on then.
Yes.
Alright, so am I overlooking anything, or is that everything we know right now?
Don't forget they appear to have planned to hit him at that spot, by the fact, probably most likely because of the fact that the security cameras had been bashed in already.
And I got an eyewitness that says he saw 3 of their dudes there waiting for him.
Right, and he
And
named
they-
Crane
yeah.
specifically, so we've already got
Yeah.
the good lead to check in on Crane and see what he wants to do. So how do we want to handle that? Because with the information we have right now, I think our best option would be take a break for right now, then in the morning go check up in the hospital, see if we can talk to the victim.
So let me ask OOC, do you want to talk to the victim because you are in doubt about who's behind this, or remember your job is to somehow put Crane out of business?
Yeah, but first we need a link to Crane and we need a way in. We can't just run up to Crane with accusations.
I have an idea on that.
Okay, let's hear it.
When well, they've got to have they probably have a computer system of some sort, right, for keeping track of stuff and everything like that. Why don't we use the Microsoft virus scan? Call them up, tell them that there's been unusual usage. We can say that we're from their internet service provider. We're getting a lot of awkward traffic from their computer systems. Try to convince them that we need to take over the computer system for just 5-10 minutes, just long enough, basically get them onto team viewers long enough for
So you
our
wanna-
hacker to install something onto their computer system, and we have full access to their system.
Yeah, you want to Trojan the rival cab company.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah, I can go with that.
All we need to do is set up like a Google number that's spoofing one that's associated with their ISP provider, or at least has a caller ID from their ISP provider. And
That sounds like the two
know-
of you need to team up for that role.
The other idea I have is people make mistakes when they're angry. So if we were to, because obviously people are watching, at least so if we do this in a situation where our client is in full public view, right? And we maybe vandalize a couple of the happy cabs, right? That might piss this guy off enough to do something drastic and make a mistake.
Hold on, run me through that logic again.
We make sure that our client is someplace public so that he has a rock solid alibi that he was nowhere near what happened. And then we sneak in, damage a couple of the happy cabs, okay? People make mistakes when they're angry. Maybe we can goad this guy into doing something reckless, right? Just reckless enough that that what he does is possibly even just public enough that his contacts in the DOT and whatever else can't just sweep this under the rug for him.
That could work. It's riskier, but it could work.
I did think of one reason we would want to talk to the guy in the morning, that we don't necessarily have to start waiting. And that is, we would want to know if he was able to figure out if any one particular person from Friendly Cabs, like, undoubtedly was wearing a mask, but if he says, yeah, I know who that is.
And that's why I wanted to trace the app in the first place, was to figure out, was it a driver or did he hire muscle?
Good
Well,
question.
you can also do, while you're waiting, you can see what you can find out on the computer, or you could ask around, see what people know.
well, the reason I was saying that do the scam is we'd probably have a better chance of it at night than in the morning. Fewer people are going to be, if fewer people there, basically just some overnight worker that's,
Yeah, probably the temps, the interns, the new guys.
yeah, the
idiots.
guys that are going to be easier to fool, the ones that are just, yeah, they're bored out of their mind, and all of a sudden, oh shit, there's nobody here for me to have you talk to about this. So okay, what
Yeah,
what
and
do
they're
you
not
need me
about
to
to call a
do?
manager at fucking 10 at night.
Exactly.
I like this idea, honestly. Because this at least also
Okay.
gets us any, like, are there stolen fares, or is there anything else? Like, is there overlap?
And if
Okay,
we
so
can
how do you
get-
want to set it up?
Well,
Who's going to make the call?
first we
Well,
need...
I'm going to make the call.
Yeah, we need our grifter to make the call, but first we need our hacker to make sure that our caller ID comes up as a reputable tech company. Like, whoever happens to handle their internet, like we said.
That's literally, that's just, yeah, that's literally just Google phone.
Yeah. But once we get everything done, yeah, our grifter needs to make the call and have fun explaining that, no, we found some unusual traffic.
All right. Let's see. As you correctly guessed, the people who are there at night are not going to be super with it. So to get them to agree to let you in, your target number once again is an 11.
Okay. And that'll be a D8 fast book learner as far as looking up their company, kind of, and looking up the service providers in that area of town.
We'll start with Grifter.
Right. D10 for grifter. Alertness for judging, for judging how best to address them. So that's another D10. That's a D8 from want to buy a watch because we're pulling a scam, and then a D8 for knowing for reading up on the company, reading up on service providers, the service providers in that area, so we have a legitimate one and stuff like that.
Okay, go ahead and roll it. Very good. That'd be a 17.
Yep.
So yeah, you steamroll right over the person who answers the phone, and they're like,
It's really easy to do. All you got to do is download this this piece of software called TeamViewer. It'll generate a code for us to be able to access and look for where the suspicious things are. Basically, what TeamViewer does is takes over their computer. So all of a sudden, our hacker is basically sitting at his computer.
Can confirm,
yeah,
I've done this several times.
I've certainly had that happen to me, yes. Okay, so you are in, you have control of the computer. What do you want to do now that you have it?
That's over to our hacker, I do believe.
All right, so that obvious one is multiple backdoors, emails, communication, especially having to do with that niece.
Hey, you know what the other fun thing about TeamViewer is? And again, I've done this because people on Second Life are fucking morons. TeamViewer has a setting where you can set it to continuously run in the background every time they turn on their computer. We literally don't have to install anything else. We can have full administrative control over that system.
It's just a matter of when are we surrendering it to them or when are we not taking it from them.
Oh no, that's the point. It runs in the background, so as long as you make sure that they're not using the terminal actively, we can use it, so long as that terminal stays on. And you can have it mirror on your monitor everything they do, so you know when someone's there or not. You can even access their webcam.
Having a backdoor is a better idea, because then we don't have to worry about them wondering why their mouse is opening up the boss's emails.
Yes.
Yeah, that would
Because
be
whatever you do while controlling that computer is going to show up on their screen. We don't want that.
Okay. So you're in. You dig around in the emails. You get a complete list of the employees by name. You can you find some emails in the in Jim Crane's personal account where he is exchanging messages with his wife. They have it seems that she is one of those sorts who likes to be on boards of directors of things. So there's a bunch of messages back and forth about this hospital board of directors dinner that's coming up that she's kind of pestering him about. You know, make sure you're off work that night, make sure you get your suit from the cleaners, that kind of thing. You also find the boss's calendar. There's a lot of time marked off for golf. Bunch of emails about a local fitness run that he's sponsoring. He seems to be a kind of a health and fitness nut. And let's see.
Just a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
How far above do we need to roll in order to get an asset?
You don't create usually. I've played it a little fast and loose on this, but usually you don't create an asset by rolling. You create it by spending a plot point.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say because I know that before when you roll above a certain point, you get we get a bonus basically.
Right. So when you are 5 above, you get what's called an extraordinary success. Occasionally, I have done this in the form of an asset just because I couldn't think how else to make it work. But that's me playing with the system a little bit.
Okay.
So you definitely have rolled more than 5 above your target in this case, which means you get all kinds of information. I've thrown out some things that you'll get. Pretty much anything else that you're looking for you can find, or else you will find a suspicious absence of it. So why don't you tell me what else you would like to find on this?
Well, what I would like to find on this is like their accounting software, like if they have QuickBooks or something like that.
Oh yeah, totally. You can get into their account.
We have we know we have what they're at least what they're keeping records of as far as official income and stuff like that, and and expenses. So any suspicious expenses, like that they might put in for tax purposes that are cleverly worded as far as like, oh well, it's listed as this, but it's really, well, we're paying guys to rough up our competition.
Mm-hmm. So I would say that you actually find a suspicious lack of that. There may be some cash payments going on off the books.
Okay.
But their books are squeaky clean, just suspiciously squeaky clean.
Carlos, Martin, you got anything you want to look for?
While we're in the system?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, anything we can find on his contacts, because the thing is if he has contacts, like I said, the people that would be possibly in the Department of Transportation, people like that like power. They like holding on to power, and if we can find a way to blackmail them and threaten that power, we might be able to just get them to flip entirely on this guy.
Again, if he's contacting people in the Department of Transportation, he isn't doing it through his work email.
Gotcha.
I had a thought, and this comes from a bit of Andrew's time in pizza. Are tips that are being paid out via credit card tips suspiciously low? Like no one seems to be tipping via credit card?
Um,
I should
possibly.
explain.
What would that mean?
I'm looking to see if, it got knocked in as, oh no, that belongs to the company, not the driver. This could mean any number of things, from drivers are taking cash on that and not getting into the record, which would be slightly benevolent, or more likely, they're skimming off the drivers and the drivers just don't feel like fighting back.
I would say it's more likely the reverse. Credit card tips are actually really high.
Interesting. And definitely being paid out to drivers. Okay. If there's a record of it, then yeah. Well, sorry, you were saying?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the tips are like, how should I put it?
Are they
it's
exorbitant tips?
They're not high across the board. There's specific accounts that have really high tips.
Okay.
So, like, some drivers may be getting paid that way. It's like, oh, hey, here, we're going to give you this we're going to give you this money for doing us a favor, but we're reporting it as a tip from somebody.
Either that, or they're being paid for more than just driving people places.
Yeah.
But it's definitely the customers who are paying them. So the customers are seemingly paying the drivers
Yeah, so it's the customers that we need to look into here.
Well, it wouldn't hurt to look into the drivers either.
Okay, so
I'd say one other thing that probably would come up when you're poking around in the company emails is that absolutely every single one of the drivers appears to be on parole.
See, that's why I want to look in both the drivers and the customers, because if it's specific drivers, then we already know which ones we need to look out for. But is it certain customers over and over again giving these high tips?
Mm-hmm.
And then we need to find out what services those drivers are providing. So here's my question, and I'm asking the crew. Do we want to try to go about this hands off, or do we want boots on the ground again?
I will tell you, as the fixer, you're probably going to... There's a limited amount of information you can get just from the computer system. There is... I'm trying to telegraph to you...
Just
well,
using
hang on.
the
I'm
system
trying to
when I say hands
telegraph
off.
to you, there is stuff going on here that is way off the books, that you're not going to find in the computers.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to go boots on the ground for some of this.
Yeah. Well, like, okay, here, let me explain why I'm saying hands off or boots on the ground. Boots on the ground, yeah, I do mean planting people, and I already have a vague framework for that. But when I say hands off, I mean not directly confronting the company, but trying to go at it from the side. So which route do you guys think would be more beneficial?
I would say a bit more hands off, a bit taking it from the side would be better.
Okay. Carlos, your vote?
I am of a mind that I don't think that the two strategies are necessarily mutually exclusive.
Okay. Martin?
I am tempted to go undercover and fake a record and just, sabotage some things on my way out, obviously, but...
I don't think we want to sabotage this time. Okay. So the reason I had Richard pull a second pair of coveralls is because I was already thinking ahead in planting someone in a mechanic position. And these high tips are giving me reason to think that if there are services going on that are off the books, we need to check the cars to see, is there anything about the cars that's different, or is it just the drivers and the customers that have a under-the-table deal? So that's our boots-on-the-ground approach, is that one. If we take it at the side, that one I'm going to have to consult Richard for, because we have at least 2 options that we need to go for. We just need to decide which one is the easier one.
I just want to say, if you do plant me as a mechanic, that's a great opportunity for me to start planting cameras in cabs.
True.
Cameras or sound, depending on... who am I kidding? It would be easy enough to put something in with remote. They'll just decide to power off the car.
Looks like you got something you want to say, Richard.
Well, as far as going at it from the side and trying to get any kind of information, somebody should go in and take a job as a caddy at the golf club. He spends a lot of time golfing.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you generally talk about generally make deals that need to be kept quiet? There's nobody else around. There's nowhere for anybody to hide to overhear your conversations and stuff like that.
Okay, so we're going to draw straws. We're going to do both, but who wants to be the caddy? Who wants to be a mechanic?
I'll take mechanic.
As I say, I'm probably your best bet as far as a caddy. I've got the youthful appearance.
Perfect. Sounds good to me. Alright, so here's our question, Martin. What kind of record are you going to give yourself?
I mean, it sounds like pretty simple. I was joyriding cars and eventually flat out lifting them all together, stripping them down in the middle of the street, that kind of thing.
Somehow I think that fits Carlos better, but yeah, okay, we'll go with that.
Well, Carlos can coach you on the story, I guess.
There you go.
And the fact that I look like a bloody hayseed, because I am a bloody hayseed, means that I will fit right into the general population.
Alright, so that leaves Carlos. What do you want to do?
Well, I mean,
You expressed interest in the niece.
You also expressed interest in pissing him off, in which case I do have a fun idea for that, but I don't know how criminal you want to go.
I mean, I don't mind starting a few fires.
I was gonna go with something a little more precise than a fire.
Well, but what I mean by that is Carlos does not mind getting his hands a little dirty.
Well, here's a point for you. Here's a point for you. If you want to guarantee that he's going to need the services of a mechanic,
Sabotage a bunch of his cars.
Mm-hmm. Or
In fact,
specifically, find one that's already in disrepair, and then not sabotage, but disable another one.
I'm gonna say I just sneak in there in the middle of the night and just go under a bunch of them. Use a little bit of my own experience, my own personal experience as of late. Go in there. All I need is a small knife, like a pocket knife or something, and just go under there, get under a few cars, and start cutting brake lines.
No, that's more subtle than
that's-
what I was gonna do. I was gonna have you put a block of thermite on the hood and just light that fucker.
I'll be right back. I need to run to the bathroom and grab a
Yeah,
drink
so
real
do I.
quick.
So.
That might put it beyond the level where a mechanic could do very much.
It's just at that point, all he has to do is replace the mechanic just has to replace the brake fluid and the hoses.
I too am going to get a drink real quick. I'll leave.
Oh, we'll just take a 5-minute break.
Yeah, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. Let me switch over to our Carlos screen.
Yay me!
And I really wish I had thought to put on some music, but unfortunately I didn't. So everybody enjoy our Carlos splash screen.
Okay.
Some days all you want is soup and green tea. In a Zaz cup.
Of course.
Chicago has the Empire theme. We have Zaz cups. And this is it furniture.
Yeah.
Man, I miss original Zaz.
Yeah. I miss Zorba's. I miss
Yeah, they
going
used to
down
have
there.
best French fries in town.
I miss going down to Zorba's for lunch when I was a clerk at the Ilana Union bookstore when I was in my senior year. So you want to hear something annoying?
Sure.
Costco has had both their Impossible and Beyond Burger stock out of stock for months now.
Hmm.
You can get it elsewhere, but it's really cheap at Costco. It was to a point where briefly it was barely $1.25 per patty for Beyond Meat.
Supply chain issues?
Possible. But, it's a weird thing considering we're in the middle of veggie country here, so this is where you would probably not only harvest but also process.
You'd think.
And on top of that, I just liked grabbing the patties for other dishes. Like, I would make a domolda using just a bunch of Beyond patties, because between the avocado oil and everything, it just worked out so wonderfully. So I'm planning on making that, I keep getting stymied every time, making that Japanese deep dish pizza. I planned on, inside the okonomiyaki in the middle, putting in some of the ground beef. And some leeks and some scallions, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And then seaweed on top.
Y'all
I
having
just picked
fun?
up the rice bottle the other day.
Okay, so
Someone out there.
cams should be reset.
Somewhere out there, someone wants to call me a monster because I'm making a vegan okonomiyaki. In the
think
middle of a
English is
Chicago
off,
dish
so-
pizza.
Yeah, that's why I said should be.
Yeah. So everything's going to kind of be shifted around a bit.
Yeah. Well, I haven't changed off the splash screen yet, so... You can now appreciate more of Carlos's majesty.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
I mean, I guess.
I'm going to be honest, there's a character from the show, His and Her Circumstances, that comes to mind whenever we describe Carlos.
I mean, I just like the fact that he's definitely on Coney Island.
Yeah.
That's a blast from the past, his and her circumstances.
Harry Joe or whatever it was in Japanese, but yeah, there was that one character that would constantly have his shirt just spontaneously coming undone.
I like the fact that it's not even a button-up shirt. That shirt is made to be worn like that. Okay, so now that we're all back, let me go ahead and make sure that last cam is in place. No, it's not.
So yeah, when we left off, you were plotting to
I was plotting to thermite a
sabotage
car.
some of the cars at Friendly, which is going to be a bit of a an operation. You scope out their. Are we all back?
I'm back.
Yeah, it sounded like I just gotta set up these cams.
All right. So you scope out their office. You find that there is someone working there pretty much 24 hours, but between midnight and, say, 8 a.m., there's a very minimal skeleton staff. They do, however, have a decent security system, and they have cameras. So this may be a multi-person operation.
Well, I mean, if we can get a good distraction going, I can sneak in the back and just be all super stealthy and everything, and be, come in, do my thing, and then.
Well, don't forget the cameras.
But here's the question. Here's a question. Are we doing this at? Are we going to sabotage some of their cars at their garage?
If you wanted to get multiples of them at once, that seemed like the best way to do it, and that's what you were discussing. But if you have alternate plans, lay them on me.
I mean, I'm not sure how well we'll be able to distract them. That's
Yeah,
the only
that's
thing
the
I'm
only
thinking
problem
of.
with going for multiples at once is
Okay, well, here's the deal. If I'm going to sneak in, there are cameras. I'm obviously not going to go in with my face just showing. That's what something like a ski mask or a balaclava is for.
True. And the good thing is, you do have a forgettable face.
I do have a forgettable face.
apparently with a hot dog perpetually in it.
Always got, yeah. Always chewing on a dog.
Is that what they call it nowadays?
Actually, the other thing I can do is, Oh, you know what? I got an even better idea to help with this. We can get our hacker basically to loop some of the video footage on their system, since we've already, if that's connected to their entire computer, if that's like if their computer system and their security system are basically all the same thing, they're all on the same network. How big of a hassle would it be just to, like I said, to loop a little bit of security footage? It's a trick they use in the show all the time.
Well, you need to make a roll, if that's the way you want to go.
But I mean, other than that, I could just try to be really sneaky, you know. And if someone notices that someone was like really suspicious out there, and messed up a bunch of their cars, I mean, they won't be able to necessarily tell who did it.
Well, we already contacted them saying that we found suspicious activity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so why not just drop a virus that screws with their system for about, say 3 hours?
In the middle of the night, and while they're messing with that, I sneak in, pop the car.
Seems far easier than trying to find footage that's going to match up with night to night.
Well, usually what they would do in the show was they'd literally loop, like, what just occurred. Like, oh, here's, like, 30 seconds of footage that happened, like, half an hour ago, where there was nobody in this hallway, right?
Well, I'm going to let our hacker decide how he wants to handle the cameras.
That's fine.
A repeat loop is always a tempting option.
You can always live
Okay.
stream Twitch to all the cameras.
But I think it's mostly a matter of finding out which cameras we need to screw with and which ones we want to spy through.
Well, if we're going to be sabotaging cars, we need to make sure that everything in the garage and service bays are active and being looped.
And that allows us to do things to the cars that sabotage them, but is not visible upon simple glance.
Exactly.
Well, that's why I wanted to go for the brakes, because generally you cut a brake line. Yes, there might be a puddle at the bottom, but under normal, just regular inspections, you're not going to be sitting there looking under the cars every time they might do a visual walk around, and you're not going to notice it until you actually have to hit the brakes, at which point that's generally too late.
Are these older cars or newer cars?
They are a mix. Some of them are, the oldest ones are about 6 years old, and then there's a couple more that are maybe 3 years old. Nothing newer than that.
You know we don't have to cut brake lines, right? We could just send you with a diagnostic tool and have you set down the throttle. It's really fun having computers in cars that can fuck with the entire system.
Well, again, remember, if your goal is to make it so that they take the cars to the mechanic,
We want them to have. Yeah, we want them to have a need for our hacker to be taken on as a mechanic. So.
Well, so the thing is, the cars have to be debilitated enough that whoever they've already got on staff isn't necessarily going to be able to handle it in an efficient manner right away, right? But it can't be so debilitating that the cars are just write-off.
Exactly. What I'm looking at is if you do it the subtle way and set the throttle, it does fuck with it just enough to where they need someone to check it, because they're not going to have a diagnostic tool just at the place. But it also takes the risk out of cutting brake lines, because you cut brake lines, you take the risk of getting caught leaving evidence or finding some other way to screw up.
Well, the only downside to doing that is I'd have to come in with a tool, and I'd have to plug in. I'd have to basically.
Yeah, you'd have to
pop
plug
into
into each car.
I'd have to plug into each car, and the easiest way to do that is in there's a diagnostic plug usually in most newer cars under the driver's side, in the driver's side panel there by where the fuses are.
Yep. See, that's what I'm looking at. They're both pretty much going to take the same amount of time. It's the which one leaves less of a trace.
You know what's actually even worse? And it'll mess everything up, and everything. I don't even have to get that technical with it. All I got to do is, if I'm already popping into that fuse box, pull out all the low wattage fuses, and swap them with the high wattage ones. Like swap their locations, anything that'll fit. And if you mess up the whole circuit,
that'll burn out the electrical system.
Yeah, they'll just turn on the car, and the whole car will just go poof, and it'll stop working. And those fuses take a long time and are expensive to fix. But it's not going. But it's quick, it's easy, and it's going to debilitate those cars.
How about this? Which sounds most fun?
Honestly, the last one, because not only does it screw with them in a way they don't expect, but because we see it coming, I can repair the cars and look like a damn miracle worker, so they'll want to keep hold of me.
All right, I say go for the last one then.
Okay, where I'm messing with the fuses, and the thing is that I don't have to know anything about cars to do that. All I got to do is start pulling shit out and putting it in places I know is wrong.
The danger mouse technique.
Yes.
all right, so you're going to do your thiefy thing here.
I'm gonna do my TP thing. I'm gonna sneak in. I'm gonna obviously have a face mask of some kind on, like a balaclava or a ski mask or something like that covers my face.
Cut out of Donald Trump's face.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Do this. What's it called? Why am I forgetting the name of the movie?
Point Break.
You know, Point Break. Yeah, do this Point Break style where I show up in a suit and a presidential rubber mask.
Well, you can't take Nixon.
You know, the funny thing is his library is literally down the street from where I work.
Do they
Like
make
his
Gerald
president.
Ford masks? Because that would just be funny as fuck.
All right, your difficulty is going to be 10 to
Okay.
get in and do this without getting caught by the security.
Okay. It's obviously thief because I'm sneaking in.
Mm-hmm.
Um.
Probably agility.
Okay, could be agility, could be okay. That's easy enough. I'm pretty agile.
You're gonna need alertness to make sure you don't get caught.
But yeah. I am going to say this is I'm gonna see can I leverage my distinction of class clown since this is quite literally like prank/trolling behavior that I'm getting into here.
And are you rolling it as a D4 or a D8?
Probably a D8.
One of these days,
Now,
someone will
are
roll
you-
that as a D4.
I did last session, and I succeeded, and I got the point.
So when you say you're trolling, does that mean that you just... Are you trying to do this without being seen, or are you trying to be seen and not recognized?
When it comes down to it, I do want the cameras to see me.
Okay.
I want the cameras to see me, but not until it's too late, after I've done whatever I do. And I'm basically going to do the thing, you know, at the end, or when in the prison sequence of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, where Star-Lord does that thing where he's cranking next to his hand and his middle finger slowly comes up.
Yes.
So I'm going to sneak in, I'm going to try to do everything without really being seen, and before I leave, I'm just going to pop up, wave at the camera, and go, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, up goes the weasel, and then scurry out.
Okay. Let's see. Anything else you can roll there? You can, if you wish to create an asset for your disguise, you can spend a plot point.
I don't think I really need to create an asset, because I mean, balaclavas and stuff like that, it's easy to get that kind of stuff. You go to,
Well, it's not so much is it difficult to get, it's do you want to roll extra dice?
Oh, well, you know what, with a D8 and 2 D10s, I think I'm pretty good.
Famous last words, but go for it.
I mean, you have to go for a 12, so yeah.
No,
just a 10. Remember, it's the 2 highest dice.
Okay, so I only need a 10. Okay. My other question is, I do have. Can I take some? No, that I don't know if that would work. Could I take? Because I have the Hawkeye. I have the Hawkeye trait.
Mm-hmm. What does that do?
That's the one where I can scope a place out, and I can basically kind of scope a place out and get a idea of. Let me double check it. Double check that, because what I was thinking of doing. See if it does what I think it does.
Is that a thief? Where is that one? Hawkeye.
Oh, Hawkeye. It's the one where if I do a notice action to scope the place out before I go in, I can add a D8 to the notice action.
Yeah.
Does
We
this
kind of
count as a notice
bypassed that
action?
already.
Okay,
so-
then that's fine. If there's really nothing else I can do, other
I
thing.
mean, Well,
Let me see, I
actually,
have-
okay, yeah, no. Heck, actually, go ahead. Make the notice roll.
Okay, so I would be doing thief. So notice roll would be thief, and then so that'd be a D10.
It's usually awareness.
Awareness for me is a or alertness or whatever. Yeah, it's a D8.
Or
So then
alertness,
I have
rather.
2D. So I'd have 2D8s with that. So a D10 and 2D8s for the notice roll.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll that. Okay, so you have a 12 there. Ooh, interesting. I finally rolled a 1. Steps up the free luck. You are successful on your notice roll or your notice action. And with that, actually, you can create an asset with a successful notice action or a successful face action.
Okay.
So that is another exception to when you
Okay, so-
actually can create an asset. So if you want to, like,
Yeah, an
Yeah.
asset that I know the placement of the cameras. I know how the security is laid out. So I know I have a better idea of how to sneak through the area without actually being seen.
yep, then that'll get you a D6. If you want to spend a plot point, you can keep it for the rest of the job. Otherwise, you'll just use it in the next scene when you do your break-in.
You know what? I'm just going to use it for the next scene because I don't think I'm going to necessarily have to be sneaking into this place more than this one time.
That's quite reasonable. So add a D6 to your hand.
Yeah, no. If this was a place that I thought I was going to have to break into a couple times, I totally would make this a story-wide thing. Okay, so I just have to be a 10 with the dice I have.
Yes. Oh, and you have a 1. But
Okay, I
you
got
do
a
beat the 10.
Okay.
So I am going to go ahead and take the plot point, but I'm going to reserve the complication for later.
Okay. So I get a plot point. But I was successful in sabotaging some of their cars.
Yep, you were you going to do all of them, or just some of them?
Not all of them, but a wide number of them. You know, probably the vast majority. Gonna just you know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be the 2 oldest and most inefficient cars they have.
Okay.
Are gonna be the ones that I don't touch. All the newer, nicer stuff. That's the stuff that I'm sabotaging.
Okay. Let's say they have 10 cars total. So.
Okay. So I sabotage 8 of them, leave the 2 oldest ones alone.
Okay. And you do get to do your little stunt for the security cameras. So as far as you're concerned, this goes off without a hitch.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's that.
All right. And next day, we'll go ahead and I want to keep this moving because it's getting close to 10 already.
No problem.
So next day, you get a call on the. I'm sure you would be able to rig the phone lines through your control of the computers. We'll say that they're using the computer phone system thing because a lot of businesses are doing that nowadays, which would make it real simple for you to make sure that calls go to numbers that you want them to go to. So next morning, you get a call, Martin, about an emergency job fixing these cars.
All right. I've got various things that may or may not be related to an electrical system, etc. Everything that Carlos did.
Mm-hmm.
And I come prepared, basically. And there's just, all right, where's the patient?
So they take you out back. It's not actually a shed where they keep the cars. It's just a lot surrounded by a chain link fence. And two of the slots are empty. The cars that were still working are apparently out working. And actually, it's Jim Crane himself who meets you and takes you out there. He says, "Yeah, fortunately, we got 3 new cars coming in a day or two, but faster you can get these up and running, the better. Don't know what happened. Well, actually, I know what happened. And we're going to deal with the person who sabotaged us. But in the meantime, we need to get these up and running, okay? As soon as possible."
And I just, give them the once over. I'll take out, there's a device that I can't remember the name of it right now, but most mechanics use it to diagnose, especially in newer cars, problems by code. So because I know what's coming up, it's going to be easy for me to zero in on the code and, and I'll just, go back, give me a sec, go back to my car, grab some, what I need out of it, i.e. a box with the circuits, take what I need to do some soldering to the boards that have been fried, blah, blah, blah.
So while you're working on this, you see one of the, somebody come out of the building, presumably a driver. He's got keys to one of the cars. Big, tough-looking guy, shaved head. And he opens up one of the cars and says, sorry to bother you, just need to grab this thing I accidentally left in the car last night. And he pulls out a, looks like a, oh, shoot, not a briefcase, but like a plastic thing that snaps together like a briefcase. I can't think what you call those things. Yeah, well, not even as fancy and business oriented as that. It's more the kind of thing that you'd keep tools in. But
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you mean. The handle does not budge, but the whole thing comes open.
Yeah, that kind of thing, like a plastic clamshell.
Yeah.
And it rattles loudly, like there's lots of tiny little things in it as he pulls it out.
Okay. I'm going to pretend not to notice or care, but in my head I'm like, all right, marking in my head which one that is. Memorize the face, memorize the look of the container.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me wants to pull something and accidentally get him to drop it and get, let it spill open, but at the same time, I'm in the middle of installing cameras in all these cars.
Well, you do have a crew you can call on that you are in touch with.
Yeah, so once he's out of earshot, I am going to telling everyone, okay, look for blah. He's carrying blah. It's shining around. I think it may contain blah. The blah begins.
Blah.
This is where I just take out my earpieces. What the fuck is a blah?
It's comedy gold. Now go chase that guy.
So who wants to take Martin up on that?
Well, who would probably be best? Are we going to tail him or just follow him and see where he takes
Are we
it?
just gonna
Like,
bump
what are we
into
doing?
him?
He just went back into the office.
Oh, he just went back into the office?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be waiting for him to leave, or... Question is, will he take that out of the office with him? I don't know.
Well,
Question is, where is he in the office? Because I got to come up with a good excuse to be in anywhere other than the customer area.
I'd say at this point, I'm probably shopping around for khaki shorts, tennis shoes, polo, stuff to put together a caddy outfit.
Okay.
you could always just pretend that you're sick, Caden, and be like, "Oh my God, where's your shitter?"
Yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah.
it could pull the old where's your bathroom. Yeah, I guess I'll go in and find the guy.
All right. What's your disguise or your excuse?
I'm just gonna go in plain clothes and just be like, "Hey, heard you guys were a cab company. Heard you had some problems, but wanted to check out the place. Thought about maybe getting a job." I'm gonna be completely clueless.
Okay. They give you a form to fill out.
All right. There's no coffee around, is there?
Yeah, there's a coffee machine in the lobby.
Oh, we're gonna do this again. We're bringing back a classic. So I'm gonna go get that cup of coffee, and then while I'm filling out the form, I'm gonna wait till that guy shows up, and then I'm gonna go take a drink of my coffee and stumble, and of course spill it all over him, and bump into him, hit him, throw him into the wall, on accident. See if I can't get him to drop the chest.
Okay. Yeah, he seems to be. It looks looks like he's passing through the lobby on his way from one side of the building to the other. And let's see. You're gonna need to beat a 13 to get a look inside of that thing.
Let's see here. So, I don't know if this would count as a mastermind action or a thief action.
Well, make me a case for mastermind, because I'm sure you'd like to roll your bigger die.
Well, that's the thing. I can't really make a case for mastermind.
Then let's call it thief.
Alright, so we're going to go with a D8. And then, let's see. So if I'm going to bump into him, I would say agility if I was going to hook his ankle, but if I want to make it look like an accident, he's a big guy, so I might need to do a strength roll.
Okay.
I'm
Sounds
going to go with
reasonable.
agility. I want to do that. I want to do that hook.
Okay.
It's relatively easy to make those look like accidents.
Okay.
And then
I could really go either way on that, so either one.
Okay, so I am posing as someone I'm not. So I can use chewing the scenery and use my grifter die.
Okay.
So that'll give me an additional D6. And then I don't think a distinction will come into play here.
Okay.
Unless we're
If
going to
you want
count...
Go ahead.
Do we want to count fun-loving like our class clown and just come off as the Jerry Lewis bumbling idiot?
Well, it's all in how you do it.
Yeah, I think I will, so we'll add a D4 for that. And I think that's everything.
I was going to say, if you want to spend a plot point, you can create an asset for the hot coffee.
Yeah, I'll spend a plot point. So let me go ahead.
Okay, and the D4 for your distinction, you get a plot point for that.
Okay. And so then the plot point, the asset comes out to another D6, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So with that.
Ooh, interesting. Well, let's see, your top two are 10.
Yep.
No, 12.
Yep. 12.
If you spend a plot point, you can bump that up to 16.
Yeah, I'll spend another plot point. Why not?
Okay. You get a plot point back for the one, which is going to generate a complication, which I am going to give you right now. So you are spending a lot of plot points, and you are gaining a lot of plot points. And, let's see. I think your complication here is going to be that he turns around, and we're going to call this he is angry, D6. We're going to add that to his stat block as the complication. And he shoves you back and says, "Hey, watch it, shrimp!" And he is ready to start a fight. But before we go into any of that, I am going to let you know what you spot when he drops this clamshell case and it bursts open. It is filled with prescription medication bottles.
Okay.
Those distinctive orange with the white cap bottles. And they are all filled with pills.
Okay,
And
so
you get enough of a look at it to see that there is, it's not all the same thing. There's and they're unlabeled. You can see that the pills are different colors, but there's no printed label on them, as if these things had actually been prescribed.
okay, so at least now we know what they're pushing in the cab.
Meanwhile, though, you've got a big angry bald guy in your face, and we have never had a combat in this game. So here's the way it works. I will roll for him when he takes a swing at you. You have to either raise the stakes on him. In other words, you have to beat his roll, or you can give in. If you give in, you take a complication, but you can exit the scene on your own terms. You also get a plot point. Or you can try to fight back against him. If you raise the stakes, then he has to decide whether to continue raising or give in. If you successfully raise the stakes on him and he gives in, then you win the combat. If you unsuccessfully raise the stakes, then you are taken out, which means I narrate what happens to you.
Okay.
So let's start with the difficulty here, and then you can decide how you wish to respond. Let's see. He will be rolling... All right. You would need an 11 to beat him in a physical fight here. Do you want to try to fight back, or do you want to give in?
How is he attacking?
He just punches you.
Just wild swing?
Not that he doesn't know what he's doing. He's been in some fights, clearly.
Okay. So, let's
Put it
see.
this way, he's rolling a d8 for his combat abilities.
So he's rolling a d8.
Yeah.
Okay. I could have fun and use my agility to put him in an armbar.
Do you think you can beat an 11 and you want to try for it?
I think I have a pretty decent chance, but you know what? I've been playing it safe every game. So this time I'm going to be an idiot.
Okay.
So we're going to use the
You'll be rolling
agility.
hitter.
Yeah, so I need that D4 and I need that D10 for agility. Now let's see if we got anything else we can throw on there. I guess we should also put strength if I want to throw this guy. So that's a D6.
Well, you just pick one, either strength or agility.
Fine,
One
let's
roll,
stick with
one
agility.
attribute.
Alright, anything else we can add?
Are you being playful?
No, this would definitely be done with the resting bitch face.
Okay.
So I'll add my D8 for that. And let's roll. Huh.
That is a 13. You surprise the guy. And now it is up to him to decide what to what to do about it. Is he going to give in? Or is he going to try to raise the stakes on you? I mean, he is not tremendous. He's angry. That is, I forgot to roll that for him last time, but I'm going to add it to the pool this time.
I mean, he's angry, but he's also just dropped all of his pills. Is it really worth it to go over the guy that's currently got you in an armbar?
He's trying it, and he fails. His best dice are a 9. You have got this guy in an armbar. This great big shaved head, ex-con, dangerous guy. So I think you need to tell me what happens. And he also rolled a 1, which means that free luck goes up to D10. So what do you do when you've got him in the armbar?
Well, now that I've got
He's
him in the
taken out.
armbar, I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
he's out of the fight.
yeah,
He
I'm
can't
just gonna,
move.
you know, kind of shove him away, and then just politely tell him, you know, hey, just because I'm small doesn't mean that I ain't scrappy. Next time, just take the apology and walk off. And then I'm gonna go right back to filling out my form.
You know, at this point, you notice the receptionist is making a phone call.
Okay.
And you hear, Mr. Crane, I know you've got golf in a moment, but there's someone out here I think you might want to have a word with. And
All right.
next thing you know, you are ushered in to see Jim Crane.
Oh, yay, this is gonna be fun.
And he says, so, I hear you're good in a fight.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm good, but I can take care of myself.
And he's looking over the form that you filled out. And you're looking for a position with my fine organization. So tell me, I like to give a chance to guys that have messed up in the past. Have you ever done any time?
I've been in jail at least 5 times. What are you looking for here?
He says, you know, I think you might just have the qualifications that I'm looking for. How soon could you start?
Do I look like I'm doing anything else?
No, you don't. I'm going to put you on with, well, not with Billings, because you and him are going to have to work out whatever's going on there. But I'll put you on with one of my guys, and he takes you to the back, pokes his head into a room where, like a break room where a bunch of the guys are hanging out, motions a guy over. Hey, Stryker. Stryker is, he's short but square, and he's got a, like, brush cut hair. Crane says, Stryker, this is, what name did you give him? Anderson?
Yeah.
Okay, this is Anderson. Show him the ropes. I think he's gonna fit in just fine here. And he leaves, and I think that's end of scene there. So
Cool.
should we pick up at the golf club?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
So
That's right,
we
kids. When you need a job, break someone's arm.
fade in on Crane and another guy riding in a golf cart. Richard, are you in the back?
I would
he's the
imagine
caddy, he should
probably
be
the
driving.
way these guys the way these guys are, they probably have their clubs in the back and like have the caddy like walking or trotting along beside them, because I can't picture them being like, oh yeah, jump in, caddy.
You know,
like,
that's
no,
a good,
no,
actually,
we are.
now that I think about it, Crane's a health nut. He's probably not even using the cart. He's probably just walking.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, most of the time, most of those people like that, they're just like, nah, caddies are no, they're nothing. They barely even acknowledge that they exist.
Yeah, you're pretty much mobile furniture. So they are approaching they're approaching a hole, and you hear them talking. The other guy is, he's a couple decades older than Crane. He's got politician written all over him, to be honest. And he says, he's saying, you know, we've gotten some more complaints about you that I'm having to work kind of hard to sit on. You got to keep a low profile, Jim. Jim says, don't worry about it. Listen, this Silver Star group, they're going to be out of my hair by tomorrow. Okay? They won't bother me again. I got plans to put them out of business. Turns out one of them got a little cheeky and got into my lot last night. I'll show them two can play at that game. And that is your belated complication that is dropping.
Okay. So I'm just gonna kind of like, you know, just like watch the shots and just kind of like, okay, you know, figure out which club to give them and stuff, and just kind of like, you know, when they're walking off, I'll pick up the bag and, guys, we might want to watch the Silver Star. They are the friendly cab company are looking for revenge after last night. They're sounds like they're planning something tonight. This company will be gone by tomorrow.
And this is where I just fire back with, well, it's a good thing I just got a job at Friendly.
Actually, we might be able to turn this complication to our advantage if we can get the cops down there to do surveillance on there. The second that they start doing anything, or anything happens, they can just spring a bust on them. And those guys are ex-cons, meaning that anything they do there violates parole instantly, and you've got leverage to get them all to flip on their boss.
You really like saying the name of this game.
Well,
it's a useful word.
I mean,
As I hear this, it's just kind of like, mud off. Might not be able to call the cops. He's got a politician in his pocket. He just told this politician that something's
So we know he's got a
down
politician.
tonight.
We know he's got an in to the Department of Transportation.
Boop, boop, boop. Hello, IRS. No.
As hilarious as that would be,
There's no place for him yet.
yet.
I know. I was just joking.
That is
Damn,
part of
if
the
only
reason
we
I'm-
had, like, a health club full of cultists that could make their way over to Wisconsin.
from Maine.
No. We didn't. We made it legit. Not a cult. Not a cult anymore.
That's why I said we don't have a health club full of cultists. We have a health club. We have a bakery. Damn.
The bakery's a lot closer.
Yeah,
But,
but the
yeah.
bakery's not going to be able to do anything unless we decide to send an entire case of laxative-laced cupcakes to the...
We
I
have
mean-
done crazier.
Wait, we're in Wisconsin, right? What are you going to do, overnight shipping?
Well, the bakery's just in Chicago. Janesville's pretty far south. You actually could probably get cupcakes there in a few hours, but
Why are you legitimizing my horrible ideas?
I'm not. It's just...
Won't let me thermite a car, will let me poison an entire taxi company.
Well, they're the bad guys, so come
Now, it's
on.
not that I wouldn't let you thermite the car. I just pointed out that it might be counter to your objectives.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry, but can you just see that in a Leverage episode? Especially if Carter was allowed to run rampant with an idea for one episode, poison cupcakes and everyone going to the bathroom would be the comedy relief for the episode.
Yes, it would. Did you mean Parker?
Yeah, I was about to say, that's not a Carter, that's a Parker idea.
But yeah, Carter.
Am I getting on the phone?
What?
Are we making an entire shipment of poison cupcakes?
That's your call. You're the mastermind here.
Well, I'm trying to think of ways we can quickly either derail this plan or get protection on that building. So does anyone have any other ideas?
Well,
Oh wait, did we make that bakery a chain?
I don't remember.
I don't
I
think
didn't
so.
I don't think,
Think
so.
so, but
Because that would be a bit more investment than we would have wanted or needed for that.
And notice, because the second you franchise, you start picking up a lot more interest from various parties and agencies.
Carlos, what were you saying?
well, I'm going to say, I mean, the cop still might be viable, because if we keep this local, yes, they have a politician, but generally, even like a mayor or something, as long as we don't keep like, as long as what's going on happens, in low enough ranks, like you're not getting like the police chief involved, you're generally not going to. I mean, if they're more than just if he's more than just a city politician, he's probably not going to care too much, or be paying that much attention to local PD.
Counterpoint. If he's got enough sway to pay off a politician, he's probably got enough sway to put a few moles in the police department.
well, you know he's not paying the politicians. He's married to the politician's niece. It's family, not money.
Oh, it's nepotism.
Nepotism.
Yeah.
What? Oh! Can we do some Photoshop work with, we take a picture of me lying next to another naked dude.
How did I know you were going to get horny with this?
No, but no, here's the thing. We Photoshop his face onto the other dude, right? We make a bunch of pictures, looks like he's cheating on her, and then we mail those out. She gets pissed off, and the nepotism goes away.
That is a viable strategy.
That actually sounds like something Rascalin would love doing.
I think I would be in my skill set.
It's more feasible
It's
than
not like-
poisoning cupcakes.
I don't know why it's coming out of left field to me more than the cupcakes, but okay.
Come on, you should be used to Carlos's love life by now.
Yes. Okay.
Besides, I have a reputation to uphold.
Yes, you do.
Okay, but here's the problem.
It's not that I'm screwing with a marriage, it's that I'm hyping Carlos, so...
I mean, you could Photoshop my face onto it. You think I give a shit?
We're going with Carlos.
Here's the problem. We need to make sure that whatever happens within the next 3 hours.
Now,
Alright.
the Photoshop could be a wrap-up thing too.
Well, I'm saying if they want to use that as a strategy to protect the Silver Star tonight, that's not going to work because it takes way too long for that to get out.
How big is this city?
About between 60 and 70,000.
You could start a riot. See, here's the thing. What I'm thinking, and I'm trying not to say this because I make it my job not to second guess our fixer and or dungeon master, but I just got hired on to do a job. So most likely I would be going to Silver Star tonight, but I'm only one guy. I can only handle a certain amount of people. But if I have the entire crew there, that looks like something's up. So I need backup, but I need it in a way that's going to be not suspicious.
Well, I will say that, remember, you guys do have some control over what happens to you. For instance, if they ask you to come and you don't want to, you can fake being sick. You can sneak away when no one's looking. There are ways to get out of it.
No, I'd rather be there because then I can damage control at the very least. But if we want to stop it entirely, I can't do that alone.
Or, here's another option. He's got to have a rival. Somebody who doesn't like him. Or, like, something like that.
Wait, you give a granola bar to a homeless guy.
Yeah.
Make an army of bums.
That's the problem. Is he's kind of gotten rid of all of his rivals.
I'm serious. Summon an army of the homeless. You can do that in about 2 hours.
I could.
Get a tent, get some food, put it out in front of Silver Star. Just start giving away food to the homeless.
That's what I do. We can put up a pop-up kitchen right in front of Silver Star, right? That way, anything happens, there might be reporters there who are looking on this pop-up kitchen. Anything that, even if it doesn't stop the what happens, it might stop it tonight and push it back another night. But like that draws attention to Silver Star.
If we got our hacker to really kind of boost the signal on social media, that would get a lot of attention, like a pop-up soup kitchen.
Yep.
Doing good for even drop a politician's name on it.
Yeah, make it look like his idea.
Yeah.
So that way, if he tries to neg out, that makes him look bad. If Friendly tries to do something and we can trace it back to them, makes them look bad. So we're already putting them in a position of you can't do shit. Make it a 3-day event.
Yeah. And the thing is we can finance it. We can just get a couple of the local restaurants.
We don't need the local restaurants. We got the bakery.
Well, it's in Chicago.
Well, not here. Yeah, we'd have to get local restaurants and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, we've got somebody who has spare cash to spare.
We come in and get a couple of local restaurants to cater stuff, so we've got like food out, and we're just giving it away to the homeless or the low-income people in the neighborhood. Because this is, I'm assuming, where these cab companies are operating is like a blue-collar industrial area.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
And so any housing in those areas is likely low income.
I like this plan.
Sort of like
Plus, we already know there's homeless there. So. Plus, we already know there's homeless there. Yep. So it's like, hey, come one, come all. We're,
Okay.
And I think that's what we should probably do.
Martin, make it so.
All right. This roll will be Oh gods, what world will this be?
I
So
think
you guys
this
do
is
that.
gonna-
I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick.
Okay, I was gonna say I think this is gonna be a honestly it may be a grifter role because there's a lot of networking involved
The actual
in putting
event
it
will
together.
probably be the grifter, but at least pushing it out to
Unless-
social media.
Yeah, unless you want to do it all online, in which case it could be a hacker. But I don't know. Even then, it seems like it's all people stuff.
True.
Well,
You know?
Well, our grifter main has just wandered off, but we do have a secondary grifter, thank God.
and I could sit there and I could get the word out on the street that, hey, yo,
Carlos is actually the better choice, anyways. Because if this is
Okay.
supposed to be a charity event for the lower income and the homeless, we want someone who blends in.
and I've already got inroads with at least one guy there, so I can that helps get me into the neighborhood.
Okay, I think what we're going to do is we're going to call this a face action.
Okay.
It's a little, again, I'm playing a little fast and loose, but it'll create an asset if it works, and it'll let you establish the thing that you want to establish. So it's kind of mechanically the same as a face action,
Okay.
even though it's not exactly the description of a face action.
Okay.
So
what do we
let's
have to
see.
roll?
Well, definitely grifter to get all the networking in place.
Okay. Now, is it just me rolling this, or is it me and Martin, or how are we?
Well,
I
now
think
that
you should
Richard's
take-
back, you can choose. Do you want to run it, or does Richard want to run it? I'm still going with Carlos because he fits in better.
I mean, however you guys want to do it, doesn't really matter to me. One way or another.
Richard, as our primary grifter, do you think that you would want to run this, or do you think Carlos should run it because he looks like he fits in better?
I think Carlos should run it because he's already got a connection with one of the homeless people. So if it's suddenly somebody else, it might be kind of, yeah, it might be a bit questionable.
All right, so that sounds like a solo
he's
roll.
he's a known quantity.
Okay.
So I think this is going to have to be willpower.
Ooh, not a great one for me, but Okay,
To
so
make
it'd
it
be
happen.
grifter plus willpower.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, since I love to help, can I get my distinction of modern day Robin Hood in here?
Oh, definitely.
This would definitely be a modern day Robin Hood.
Okay, so I've got 2 D8s and a D6 then. Let's see what I get.
You can also pull in the free luck if you feel like you need it.
I don't know if I want to pull it in this early or... But this is kind of important.
Well, we are trying to... This is like early in-game, so I don't think we would need free luck for much here on out. But we also do have opportunities to push it still.
Okay, so you want me to just use it?
Yeah, go ahead and use
get
it.
a D10? Okay. So I'll add a D10.
Actually,
what's
make it a D12 because I rolled a 1 last time.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I rolled it right as you said.
Well, that's all right. Wow. That's still a good roll. Yeah, it's a 16 to
16.
Yeah, and you're not going to be up against a lot in the way of opposition. I'm just going to add 1 higher die for the fact that it's short notice. But
Oh,
yeah,
and another 1.
and another 1. So that means the free luck die is already up to D8 again.
Okay. Hey, there we go.
Okay, so tell me what this looks like once you get the thing set up.
So we've just got a couple of those, standard blue. We've got this couple of those standard blue, expandable awning things. It usually takes 2 people to pull out, right? Nothing branded, just a couple of those. We've got a bunch of chafing dishes with, so it's like there's hot food being served and everything, paper plates and plastic utensils up one side, a little bit of salad, some hot food. And we're just like, and the thing is we're like, hey, we want, we want to, and the whole thing is, hey, we want to improve the neighborhood and everything, we want to improve the neighborhood. We want to see this place grow to be bigger and better than it is. And it's sort of almost billed as a neighborhood, like not just charity, but also like a neighborhood pride event.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
So you're getting both the homeless and the low-income people in here, and they're all coming in, and they're like, "Hey, great," and obviously most people aren't going to turn down a free dinner.
Yeah, you've even got the Silver Star employees there helping out.
Yeah, and it makes Silver Star look good. It makes this quote unquote politician whose name we're attaching to this look,
like he's
look
supporting
good,
Silver Star.
Yes. It's just the optics of this whole thing are all in our favor, at least for now.
Okay. So with this role, you have created the asset, because I'm treating it as a face action, block party. That's a D6. So
Okay.
anytime it is relevant to a role, whichever side makes use of it can roll it.
Okay.
Oh. Hey, Richard.
Yeah.
Remember what I messaged you about earlier?
Yeah.
I know how to trigger it now.
All right. Go ahead.
And while this is happening, we can always, while this is all happening, we're stalling for time. We can always instigate my little Photoshop idea at some point.
Right. So back to Delaney.
Mm-hmm.
Where you get paired up with what did I say his name was? Stryker?
Yeah.
Yeah. He says, all right, so we're gonna we got a real special delivery tonight for a rival company. You're gonna see how this place operates right from the ground up. And he picks up another one of those clamshell cases, but when he opens it up, you can see that inside there's the big stick of explosive and the timer and the wires and everything. And he says, yeah, well, just courtesy of friendly cabs, we're going to make a little friendly delivery. And you head on over to the Silver Star offices, only to be met with this great big block party that nobody knew was coming at all.
Okay.
Stryker seems to be looking for a way around the crowd.
Well, I was gonna say, basically at the point where they're done for the day, they're done golfing and stuff. I actually want to call in the FBI. They have an office in Milwaukee, a little over an hour away.
Okay.
And
Probably
I want to
more than an
report.
hour, but
Huh?
I said probably a bit more than an hour, but they can get there.
Well, I mean, it's an hour and 16 minutes away.
Really? Okay.
Milwaukee's only an hour, 16-minute drive from Janesville.
Huh. Okay. I stand corrected. I thought it was further than that.
But yeah, and basically anonymous tip as far as drugs, extortion, bomb threat on they have a bomb threat at Silver Star Cab, whole 9 yards.
Okay.
Just drop the dime on him.
So yeah, so Stryker is fortunately the you could see when he opened up the case that the bomb was not armed. So fortunately you don't have to worry about it like blowing up while you're holding it. But he's kind of sitting and, you know, tapping his fingers on the steering wheel in annoyance. How long is this gonna go on?
So this is where I'm just gonna completely change character, and instead of the unassuming and goofy idiot that I was at the office, this is where I kind of like hunch down and the resting bitch face in full view as I kind of look through the crowd, scan the place, and nah, man, this is too hot. We're never gonna be able to get through this. Everybody's gonna see us. Too many witnesses. No clean ways in. We gotta get out of here. There's no way we're getting this clean.
He says, I gotta check with the boss about this. And he sends a text, you can see, to Crane that says basically, SS is surrounded, what do we do?
What to do here? I've got an idiot and an unarmed bomb.
Mm-hmm.
How, is this like a jury-rigged kind of thing? Or is this fairly professional setup of a bomb?
The bomb?
Yeah.
Since you're not an expert in explosives, I think you probably are not sure.
Okay, let me ask it another way. Are we talking fairly clean-looking pipe bomb or dynamite with a clock on it?
Dynamite with a clock on it.
Okay, so we've got wires.
There are wires, there is a timer.
Okay, we're gonna play the idiot again. And while he's distracted texting, I'm gonna pull out my handy Swiss Army knife and I'm gonna cut the blue wire. Not the red, because I'm not trying to disarm it. I just want to fuck it up a little bit.
Okay.
And then, you know, once he's done with the text, I'm gonna look down and just be like, oh shit, man. What happened to this wire? What? We can't do this.
Okay. I think then in that case he's going to send another text, which, you know, if someone could get evidence of these texts, that would be excellent thing to turn over to the FBI, saying basically, the thing isn't working, going back.
Someone set us up the bomb.
Yes. So he turns around and heads back to the Friendly Cab HQ. Meanwhile, back at Silver Star, somehow or other, you know, the politician doesn't have a name. Let's give him a name. His name is John Delahaye. And somewhere he's heard that he's sponsoring a block party, and, you know, he's taking advantage of the opportunity. He's taking advantage of the opportunity to shake some hands, because all he knows is that Crane said, I'm going to put them out of business. Didn't say how.
We're gonna need his phone. Strikers, that is. I'm trying to figure out how to get it.
What's your secondary?
Oh yeah, I know I'm a thief, but I can't just take it
Well,
off him. I gotta distract him
not?
somehow.
Why can't you pickpocket him?
Yeah.
Because we're in a car.
picking
You
a
ever tried to
pocket
pick
is-
someone's pocket in a car?
You just got back to HQ.
Oh right, we did
Yeah.
just get back to HQ. Huh. No, I got distracted thinking of something else. So yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to try and get that phone from his pocket.
Okay. I'm almost wondering if we're are we into Endgame? Could that be your wrap up thing, or
What do you
maybe
three
not
think?
quite?
I think
Maybe
we're just
not.
about wrap up territory because we've prevented the bomb threat.
Yeah.
We have access to their system, so we do have proof of shady dealings.
You've got the FBI on the way.
And
Yeah,
you've
I think
also
we're ready for wrap up.
you also have access to the drugs that they've been either selling or transporting, right?
That's true.
Okay, and if you get this guy's phone, that can be part of the. We can use the phone as part of the
Yeah.
wrap up.
Actually, we
I
can
can
use
use
the drugs as part of the wrap up because we do have a flashback that I can do. I never said that I didn't pick up a bottle.
That is true. And even if you did, flashbacks can contradict.
Exactly. So
So
I think we're starting into wrap up territory. What do we think?
yeah,
I think so.
I was gonna do my I'm gonna do my photo shoot.
Okay.
I'm
Don't
gonna do
worry,
my photo
I
shoot.
have something fun planned for Jim.
I'm gonna do my photo shoot and very nonchalantly drop the pictures off. Like maybe when she's out getting her hair done or something like that, be like, leave the pictures up front with the receptionist, say, hey, this is for so and so,
Okay.
And then when she opens up the thing, she's in public and she sees pictures of her husband laying there with another dude.
Right. Okay.
No, you know
No,
what? Why make
that's
it one? Just put all of us in there.
Make it a few dudes, whatever.
Yeah, there you
Doesn't
go.
matter.
No, put the person with the forgettable face in there so that they're not looking at these pictures later and being like, wait a second, that's the guy that we hired as a mechanic. That's my caddy. That was, we don't want our faces on evidence.
That might be even worse. His mechanic and his caddy.
Yeah, but the police are going to be like, oh, wait a second.
I'm
so
joking.
these
I'm
things are
joking.
no
You know
code.
me.
Oh no, me. I'm gonna be there, but I'm gonna have one of those those black domino mask things that you see at
Can we just put you in a Ronald Reagan mask? Damn.
when you go to like high-end costume parties, they have those, it's got the little black feather coming off of it.
Yeah, you want to do the
And,
eyes wide shut.
Yes. But I've got him full-faced, right? And,
Okay. So, am I rolling to steal his phone?
Good question. We're kind of doing two things at once here. Sure. Why don't we resolve the phone thing?
Okay.
Then we'll resolve the Photoshop. Then we'll go on to the other flashbacks. How about that?
All right. So I need my D8 for thief,
Yes.
and then D10 for agility.
Oh my gosh! You only have to beat a 4.
So I'm not even gonna bother with any other die.
Well,
Wait, no. Am I still pretending to be someone I'm not? Because technically, I do
Yeah.
have a job.
Yeah, you totally are.
Okay, yeah. So what's my grifter dice at? D6.
Well, you're rolling as a thief.
Yes.
Yes gets to add grifter die to this because of his ability.
Yes, I'm
Oh,
chewing the
okay.
scenery. So when I roll an action, I can include a grifter die because I'm posing as someone I'm not. Oh wait, hold on. I've been using that wrong this entire time. That's when I roll an action including my grifter, I can include my mastermind.
Oh well.
Oh well, I don't care. We'll fudge it for this session. We'll remember it later. But yeah, I don't think I need anything else.
Well, you could always roll a 1, and remember, you can't use ones. So...
No, I got a 6 and a 9, so I think I'm good.
All right then. you get the phone off him, no problem.
He doesn't even feel it.
With that roll, I probably just took his pants off and said, "Hey."
Hey,
No. That's Carlos's.
my job. Hey, you dropped these.
First the wire, now your belt. Damn, you really don't know how to see if things connect, do you? You're not the electrician, are you?
All right, so back to Carlos. Boy, I hate to say it, but this seems like it's got to be hacker. I know it's not your strong suit.
It is not my strong suit.
I don't think it's anywhere
But
near
can I
his
at least-
strong suit.
Okay, no, it's not my worst thing actually. It's pretty average.
Okay.
Hitter is where I suck at. So I get a D6 for hacker. I want to say that this is a pretty good plan. I think this is a pretty good plan. So I would argue that I could do this with intelligence.
Sure, I'll allow it.
Well, wait, are we counting these pictures as an asset?
Well, they're what I'm giving you for the final.
Yeah, he's making the roll for. It's the picture campaign more than the pictures themselves.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Or the effect of the pictures on the story.
Okay. And I can
Unless-
yeah.
I was going to say you could pretend, since it is the effect of the pictures more than the construction of the pictures. If you want to spin how you use it, or how you deliver them, you could potentially roll one of your higher dice.
Okay. Okay. Well, how about I can grift this because I will go ahead and maybe I'll sit there. Maybe I'll approach her while she's in public, maybe getting her hair done or something, and I'll say, "Pardon me, ma'am, but are you, I forget the guy's last name, but Mrs.
Crane.
Mrs. Are you Mrs. Crane? And then when she says yes or no, says, well, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I'm sorry to tell you this, but I got hired by your was it her father who's the actual
Yeah, her father's a politician.
the politician?
Actually, no, it's her uncle.
It's her uncle.
Yeah, it's her uncle.
I'm going to say that, like, her uncle has been, I'm going to say that her uncle suspected something with her husband, and I'm sorry to tell you, but you should probably take a look at these pictures somewhere private. Right? And pretend that I'm like a private investigator who snapped these photos in, like, some seedy motel or something.
Wait,
Now,
so you're
let
a
me
private
ask you
investigator
something.
who took photos of yourself having sex with him?
No, because remember, I have a forgettable face, and I'm wearing a mask in the photos. I've got the whole...
True.
Okay, question for you. How many plot points do you have?
3.
Okay, here's what I recommend. Spend one of them to make the photos an asset.
Well, that's why I was
Okay.
asking. Are we making the photos an asset? Because I still have one plot point in my Archangel.
So I'll go ahead and make the photos an asset. So that'll, so I get the D10, a D8, a D6, and I have a forgettable face, so would that be another D8?
Yes,
Okay.
you are using your signature asset.
Okay, so that would be a D10, 2 D8s, a D6. Okay,
Ugh,
and I have to
you
beat a
only
5.
have to roll. You only have to beat a 5.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure I can do it, but you know, there's always.
Oh yeah.
There we
Yeah,
go.
this succeeds beyond your wildest dreams, and the mastermind gets a D6.
Okay, I'm like, I'm sorry, ma'am, but I think your husband's cheating on you.
Turns out she thought he was cheating all along.
It's like I always hate giving this kind of news to people, but you know, it is what it is. And then I'll just walk away like this is like I'm sorry, ma'am, but you know, and just kind of walk away and just like let her seethe.
Seethe, with this roll, I'm surprised you didn't let her throw herself at you so that she could get revenge cheating.
It's like, but if you want to go back, get a little revenge, little revenge cookie. I am not so high and mighty that I am above revenge nookie. Even if there actually is nothing to revenge, I'm just, you know.
I would like to clarify, I'm not enabling. I am not suggesting. I just know exactly how Carlos thinks.
It's true. That is true.
All right, Martin and Richard, who wants to go next?
I guess I'll go next. So for the wrap up, what I want to do is make use of our access to their computers and their accounting and their accounting software.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make their books look shady as hell. I want to use every scam I have to cook the books and be like, okay, so you know this move this amount here, move that amount there, kind of, you know.
Got it.
Martin, I promise you, as far as I know, Richard is not calling Lorraine.
No, I'm not calling her. I called the FBI, not the IRS. But
right.
you know, I'm just like going full in and just being like, okay, so here's, you know, I know how to cook books to do a scam to cook books. I used that the first time to actually find how they were cooked, and yeah, we're just gonna set them up.
Well, I gave you the easiest possible roll, and you're probably going to make it, but tell me what you're rolling.
Okay, let's see here. To be fair, I D8 for intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
A D8 for knowing knowing the scams to cook the books. I suppose it would probably be a hacker.
Yeah. Is the D8 from the wanna buy a watch? Because this does seem like you'd be putting in all the oldest tricks in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Yeah, you pretty much cannot fail to beat my difficulty, but go for it. I don't know what it is, but my rolls are just dismal.
All right. There we go. That's got a 7, so yep.
Beautiful.
I don't think we've ever had a horrible roll player side, have we?
No, we had
Not
a couple in
tonight.
there. Not tonight, but we've had a couple in the past.
There was the one.
Lorraine.
Yeah, and there was also the one that led to the medical emergency. That was a 1 at a very inopportune time.
Yep.
All right, Martin, you want to take us home?
All right.
So the books now look shady as heck.
Right, so I don't need to interfere with the books because I'm just supplying the connection there, literally. In my case, I had cameras in all those cars I fixed. Would I have caught anything on the side, just especially damning, just the cherry on top as people were pulling the most petty, stupid shit possible on Silver Star?
I don't see why not. Tell me what you caught.
I'm basically catching everything from, and the cameras are on all sides, and there is audio, coming up and stabbing tires, sugar in the gas tank, etc.
Okay.
Like the things to ground a car to a halt. Things to make an insurance thing may be complicated, but liability not.
And maybe some pill sales as well.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me. So that is probably going to be an int and a hacker, so that's 2d10, but given that this is communications, wiretaps, interceptions, etc., do I get to roll the d8 addition?
Yes, you do. You're going to need to beat a 10 to get the data clear enough to be helpful.
And distinctions, unassuming hayseed, for being able to just walk in there and do this.
Sure.
So that's a d6.
No, distinctions are either a D8 or a D4, and at this stage you have no reason to roll a D4, so make it a D8.
Very good. I think
Unless you're out of plot points.
I am not out of plot points. I have
Then
two.
make it a D8. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all the dice I can do for this, so I gotta beat a 10.
Ooh,
That's a
so... Oh, no, you do make it. Yes, 12. I was going to say you could spend a plot point and pull one in, but I had missed that 5.
Yep.
Okay, so 3 extra D6 for the mastermind. Mastermind, tell us how this happens.
So we're going to arrange another block party. And then I'm still pretending that I'm working for Crane. So I'm going to be like, hey, boss, they're having another party, but I heard some chatter that, these guys said they're going to make you look bad. So I think I should take you down there and we should see what's going on. We're going to take him down to the block party. And while we're there, I'm going to hand him this piece of paper, which basically has a receipt. And that's going to be an evidence log for his guy's phone and drugs. It'd be like, so I got to come clean. I don't work for you. We already called the FBI. Unfortunately, they got laid up. They can't get through this crowd. So they're in a local hotel. But don't worry about that. I got to tell you, we already looked at your books. We've got evidence. We've got video of your drivers sabotaging Silver Star. We've got video of them, pushing these pills. We've got all that. What I need you to know is that you are going to federal prison, and it's going to be horrible, but also, unfortunately, the local Leos, they can't leave the protection duty. So we got to get you to the feds, but they can't get here. So luckily, I went ahead and I booked you a ride in a Silver Star cab. And they're going to take you to the hotel. Bye-bye.
Wow. That is a fairly evil touch right there.
I'm petty. If you need humiliation and pettiness, you come to me.
All right, so here's where we do the final roll off. Let's see what we got here.
And if you need it, Caden, we still have the luck die.
That is true.
So I'm going to go ahead and add those 3d6s first.
Matter of fact, the luck die is back up to a d12 because I rolled those double ones before.
Okay, screw
Mine will
it.
add a d12 in there.
I'll add the d12. This is Mastermind, so we'll go ahead and add our d10. I'm not posing as someone I'm not.
16.
Okay. I'm not posing
So
as someone
pull in
I'm not.
everything you can.
So my chewing the scenery doesn't work here. I already did my Mastermind. I'm going to do this with confidence, so we're going to add a d8. So it's 3d6s, a d12, a d10, d8. What else can I throw in here? Oh wait,
Can you
we're
think
using
of
the
a way to use your police band radio.
we're using the block party. So that's another d6.
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, I can use the multi-band police scanner to corroborate the story that the Leos can't leave the protection detail, and the FBI are, in fact, in the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So what's a signature asset get me?
A D8.
Okay, so that's another D8. So now we have 2 D8, D12, D10, and 4 D6. Anything else we can add?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
right.
about it, I think.
I need a skill die.
Wasn't... Oh, did you not pick
I
your
have not
attribute?
added my skills yet.
So,
I'm going to do agility because this is fast talk out the ass.
Sure.
Alright, so let's roll. Damn.
we got the 12.
And a 5, which is... No, and a 6.
12
That's
to 6.
18.
Yep.
That beats your 16. So, with a little help from your friends and your yeah, that 6 there is one of your D6s, so so it goes down as you say, and Jim Crane does not escape justice.
He is, in fact, escorted there. Flies
And
away
another-
on the wings of a silver star.
And another job comes to a successful conclusion. Free competition among taxi cabs is now once again possible in Janesville, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm not even going to bother buying his company. His company just needs to fuck off and die.
I was gonna say, yeah, with nobody else there, I mean, Silver Star should be rolling in it soon.
Exactly, and look, we don't have to buy the company now. Silver Star owes us a favor, so...
That's true.
I mean, just because we can, we could invest in the company.
Oh yeah,
help
we can
them get
invest
some
in Silver
cars
Star. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
help
take
them
a
get some
cab
cars
back.
so that there is a cab service.
Yeah, I'll just be like, hey, look, do you guys got a car that's on the spare? Like, just let us have a cab.
Got a name for this job?
You guys come up with a name. Look, you know my creativity. I named this episode Taxi.
The Teamster job?
I would say a fair day's work.
Fair as in F-A-R-E.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
The Fair Day's Work
Or-
job? I like it.
But there's a fair day's work, or
All's fair in love and war.
I was gonna say, or all's fair in taxis and yeah, something like that. All's fair in taxi service.
I mean, I like All's fair in love and war because we did break up a marriage, and this was a war
True.
between two rival taxi cabs.
I mean, it works.
Well, and to put it in leverage format, it would be the All's Fair in Love and War job.
Yep.
So I promised you a story about where this story came from. And the answer is, this one was ripped off of an old A-Team episode.
Yeah, I recognized the some of the names, some of the
Okay.
cab company names.
I think
I'm
that's
like,
why
oh,
we
I
just
know
went
this one. I know this.
We went so A-Team with this anyways.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't punch as many people, but there was more punching
That's
in this
only
job
because-
than in any of the others.
Hitter is my third highest class, so I'm like, I'm not confident enough to just like straight out hit someone.
Oh, does that make me Murdoch?
I don't
How
know.
crazy are you?
No,
were
no, no, no.
definitely-
No,
you were
you're not
definitely
Murdoch.
faked.
Your
Not
face.
Murdoch.
Your face, because
No.
you fuck everything that moves.
Yeah, but Face also seems like more of a grifter than I am.
No, Face is actually the thief of the group. Base is the one that they turn to for
Yeah.
pickpocketing and stuff like that.
It's Hannibal who's
Okay.
the grifter.
No, Hannibal's the mastermind.
Well,
Yeah,
he kind of
Hannibal's
does
the-
both.
He's probably a mastermind grifter, but nobody else is the mastermind in that group. So
I actually modeled my grifter ability off of Hannibal.
Yeah.
And Mr. T,
That's why he is so good at disguises.
Mr. T is definitely the hitter.
Yeah.
actually, I think Mr. D is the hacker.
Yeah, he's a little of both.
He's hitter first, hacker
Well,
second.
Yeah.
BA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
They all are competent as hitters.
he's the one that they all turn to whenever somebody big walks up. They're like, yeah, talk to this guy.
But he's also the one they turn to when they need something rigged up and or modified.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that
He's more
Martin,
mechanic.
we need to get you a
because
keyboard,
Computers aren't so
a
much
power
of a thing in
glove.
that shit.
a keytar, and a van.
Oh God.
You'll be
I
BA
don't
Hackerman.
think that is better. That
I mean, our hayseed would wear overalls, so it does
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
It does work.
it's just a keytar and a power glove.
Well, yeah, because remember last time you were saying that you were more like Hackerman?
I'm trying to remember now.
We're talking outdated machines, so
Yeah.
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 That's also true.
You don't get more outdated than hacking through time on a Commodore 64 and a power glove.
I've hacked too much time.
Oh, do
Now,
I
I
want to
have to
moderate
say-
chat, or do I just want to leave that there and make them feel so lonely because we didn't actually acknowledge their insults?
were
yeah, I
insulting
saw
us?
that.
Oh well, makes me glad I can't see chat, I guess.
Eh.
I mean, I've seen
One
worse
thing-
on Olaf's channel back when the bots were still attacking.
Hey,
We've had 4 sessions now, and I have to say one thing that I am struggling with a little bit is how much information to give you guys, because sometimes it almost feels like you want to do the detective work, so I feel like I don't want to give you too much, but at the same time we want to finish relatively quickly, so finding the balance between detective work and planning, I don't know. How are you guys feeling about that? Would you like to have more time to plan? Would you like me to give you more information up front so that you can talk more about just how to attack the mark, or do you like doing the digging?
Oh, that's a tough one. Because, I mean, I like both. I've always been a bit more, dig for information type myself, but, I mean,
Yeah.
I could go either way.
You and I like subtle and kind of underhanded and in the background kind of stuff.
me on the other hand, I like doing absurd things and being a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've noticed. It's like the player who has hitter as one of his worst skills is always trying to get us into fight.
There are all kinds of fights.
I'm not trying to get us into a fight. I'm just,
Oh, it's we could just go in and mess their stuff up. It's like, wait
Yeah,
a
it's like
minute.
we need to put someone up there. We're gonna go and screw with the systems, and we're gonna suggest that I slept with all their wives. Yeah, I'm not trying to get you guys in a fight.
Well, to get back to the question, I tell you what, this time I feel like I went with the most investigation that I've done so far. Next time I'm going to try to go the other direction, try to give you as much information up front as I can, and see what you guys think of that and what you make of it. How does that sound?
That sounds good. I mean, the balance that we were struggling to find before was that we had a ton of information, but that meant that we got everything we needed, like, right off the bat. And then there just wasn't anything to do. It was more of a, we know what we know, but what are we going to do with it?
Yeah, That's one of those areas where I think me and Caden would probably really shine in that type of a situation where it's like, hey, here's all this stuff. How are you going to use it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, how are you going to
yeah.
use it is kind of the. I feel like that's kind of what sets this game apart from something like, I don't know, Call of Cthulhu, where so much of it is what's going on here, and then there's usually just like, and then there's a combat.
Yeah.
Or you stop the ritual, or whatever.
I think that's why the first couple of times we just tried to balance it out, where we sent out someone and was like, hey, you get the information, send it back to us, we'll decide how to use it. And we're getting better at that, honestly, as we're relaxing and letting each other do our thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I trust Richard. When Richard's like, hey, I'm gonna go and fuck off for a minute, I'm just like, alright, you go do that. Where did you find a live grenade? Don't fucking worry about it.
So, are you saying that you don't like it when you get too much information? Is that what you were saying earlier, or?
It's more of... It's fine when we get information, it's just... not when it's like... How to put it? Okay, so like the first job, we got a ton of information, but the downfall was we got all of the important information, like, directly off the first hack. So we got all the dirty books and the proof, and then all we had to do was get the hard drives. Mm-hmm. So it felt like there was, like, less to do for a thief and a grifter and a mastermind, because the hacker did 90% of the work.
Right.
So it's like, I don't mind getting information, but just maybe not the most damning information right away.
Got it. So what... I think we're using the words information in different ways. You're using information as proof.
Yeah.
And I'm using information as setup.
Yeah, more setup would be... That would work better.
Yeah, 'cause especially with a thief and a hacker, those two roles seem more aimed at getting information.
Yeah, you got your hacker coming in, doing it digitally, and me going in physically and doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so to avoid using the word information because it's ambiguous, you can still use your thief and your hacker to get evidence that you may want to use. Of course, now it also has just worked out that pretty much all of these cases have been solved with bringing things to the attention of the authorities, but at least I think you've all done it that way.
For the most part, I think.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah.
We've always found a way to tip them off.
Yeah. You can, of course, bring them down sometimes without getting them in trouble with the authorities.
You bring them down financially, like, screw up some bank accounts so that they go broke and can't do anything anymore. Then there's also, I mean, we don't really have the hitters to do it, but there are slightly more quote-unquote permanent ways to end some of these, which aren't exactly in the spirit of the show, but they are definitely options.
Okay, we'll put it this way. I came into this job fully intending to break someone's shins with a crowbar. Hence my thermite the car.
Right. So, but what I'm trying to ask about is finding the balance between giving you early on not evidence but setup. Yes.
Yeah. Like, well, for example, like in this one, there's the golf. He goes out golfing a lot. That was something that kind of gave us a springboard onto something else. It didn't give us any kind of proof, but it gave us information that we could use to then gather evidence.
And then there was stuff like the cameras being broken, because that, to me, the way it was introduced, didn't suggest, hey, this location was pre-picked. that suggested more like they've been here before. There's a reason they've been here before. So it's like, okay, why would the cameras in the employee room, like the locker room, be broken? Because it wasn't really clear that all the cameras have been broken.
Actually, if you're talking about at the scrapyard, I only mentioned a camera when he was picking the lock to get into the building,
Yeah.
not any internal ones.
So yeah, it was like they called, they said, hey, pick me up at the scrapyard, because they knew they'd already taken care of the cameras. They knew that there wasn't going to be, that it was going to be empty, that there weren't, that there was no, wasn't going to be any footage of their
Yeah, see, a lot
what
of
they're
times
doing, yeah.
it's also just we have to communicate more and extrapolate more.
Well, see, what I'm wondering is, was that something you enjoyed, or because in a way that's kind of beside the point. The point isn't exactly how did they do the bad thing, it's they're doing bad things, how are you going to stop them, you know?
If I may,
I mean, sometimes
Yeah.
the reason we're asking
wait.
how.
Hang on, let Rest talk.
we were
He hasn't
talking.
said anything about this.
I think we all agree we were starting to overuse the word information, but I think the thing we're looking for is what's our big reveal, what's a revelation. I think tonight it was the drugs, because none of us were exactly expecting. And I think
Yeah.
we've usually had a bit of that in each case, and that does sound like something that would often, but not always, come up in an episode of the show.
Like a twist in the middle.
Exactly. I mean, it's one thing you find out he's this kind of bastard. Now, if you want to throw us for a loop, he's an even worse kind of bastard, and we need to take extra precautions. If you really want to screw with this, it would be like, oh, he has a redeeming quality. If you screw this guy over, you fuck over this group.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like our last job where we were going up against another criminal ring. That one was fun because then we had to start thinking other ways. We're like, okay, we know what they're doing. We know how they're doing it. The question is, how do we fight it without triggering all this other shit?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's one thing that I obviously thought of at the end that I'm kind of surprised that we didn't think about beforehand. It's like, we are criminals. There's nothing saying that we have to find something that is legitimately they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
We can have our hacker just like have them, create a search history of how to build bombs out of fertilizer and stuff, and order a bunch of the materials to their address and be like, hey, you might want to take a look at this person.
Okay, so here's how I'm thinking of this. Like, because I shared the link in Discord, but I went ahead and I found a site where I can watch the show, so I can brush up on it. And there's a line that stuck with me that I think works for us, which is he was talking to Parker and them, and he was saying, individually, each one of you knows what you can do. I know what you all can do, so I get to plan. And a lot of times, that's the reason I'm staying quiet, is because, like, all three of you are doing your own thing, and then you come up with a plan, and come up with a plan, and come up with a plan, and build, and build, and build. So I'm just sitting here like, okay, let me see how these plans go together, and then I guess we'll just put this all together in the end game. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except it sounds like you're saying you do the opposite of what Nate says.
It kind of, yeah. I'm saying, like, that's why I don't come out a lot and be like, hey, you do this, you do this, you do this. Is because I'm like, okay, well, anything that I've come up with at this point, you've already swerved left, so I got to go see where this goes and try to plan ahead of that. And then by the time I plan ahead of that, then we go to the other scene and they've already swerved to that way. So I'm like, okay, everything I'm planning, I got to plan 3 more routes.
Well, I mean, you can, the other option is you can just start off at the beginning and say, hey, we need to start by getting between this guy and his politician buddy, for example.
Yeah.
rather than waiting for them to come up with all
So
their plans.
what this comes down to, I think, what it boils down to as far as the question is that the setup is good. I think maybe a little bit more up front would help us plan a bit better.
Okay.
But then past that, I don't know. I think that we had a fairly good balance of detective work and setup. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think this one was very well balanced.
Yes.
I enjoyed it.
Right.
There was something for everyone to do. There was reasonable expected reactions to what we were doing.
And actually, the part I actually liked was even when I messed up and I got that, the complication came in later. We were able to turn that complication around and use it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
That's always fun.
even when I rolled that one and we had our first combat, I was like, hey, this isn't all bad, because even if I get taken out, okay, I'm taken out, but that could lead to something fun.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's not like if I get taken out, we're down a mastermind, because we do have a second mastermind.
It's true.
Now, Caden, one thing I would say as far as with your character, and just a suggestion, is to really kind of like lean into the mastermind. You don't want to. What it sounds like is you don't want to try and tell us how to play our characters, which is, yeah, that's totally agree with that. I think what I would see as a mastermind move would be, okay, what do you when we're trying to figure out what do we want to try and get, what type of evidence do we want to try and get, that's kind of where your character should be kind of stepping in and saying, okay, here are our goals, here's what I need at the wrap up. And then you say, okay, so who's going to go and get this? Who's going to go and get this? And then let the rest of us go off and do our thing as far as trying to get that evidence.
Yeah, I was trying to do a little bit more of that later tonight, and it did work out a little better. It's usually always that initial scene of when we get to wherever we're going, and then it's, hey, do we want to put people here, or do we want to wait for a minute?
Yeah, the earlier you have that, though, I think the easier you make it for the other players.
Yeah, so we're not sitting there, like I'm not, like our hacker isn't going into the system being like, okay, what do I want to look for? What do I want to find? It's like, that should be something that should be defined technically by the mastermind of the group.
So he already knows what he's looking for ahead of time, and maybe even because he knows what he's looking for ahead of time, can tailor his approach a little more, a little more selectively.
That way, you're participating a bit more by helping us define what you want us to find, without like trying to micromanage and control everybody.
I find that hilarious, since your initial suggestion for the character was he's a micromanager.
Yeah, but that was supposed to be a fault.
Yeah, I know. No. I get what you're saying, and I agree with you.
Well, all things to think about for next time. But overall, I'm glad you had a good time. This is a scenario I've run before, but it never goes the same way twice. Nobody else has ever come up with a block party, for example. The first time I ran it, the one thing that seems to keep happening is people getting into fights that you don't expect. The first time I ran it, one of our hackers, that group had 2 hackers, wound up attacking one of the rival guys with a prop lightsaber. And
I remember very distinctly that.
Yeah.
I was the hacker hitter in that particular group.
This is why we don't give him prop lightsabers.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Rascalon's character. It was the other hacker.
Oh, I know, I'm saying, but this is why we keep that away from Rast on this channel.
Yes.
Rascalon's character is more likely to use a broom than anything.
I'd rather
Yeah.
you use a broom than grab the lightsaber and yell, "I am the Sithiest Sith to ever Sith."
Wrong
Out
game.
of Sithville. Yeah, that's true.
But they do know about Salmarin, yes.
The other one being that you're about to get in a fight with someone. You pull out a fake lightsaber, and the other guy's getting ready to try to punch you out, and you're like, "All right, just hold on, dude. You may strike me down, but I'll come back more powerful than you can possibly imagine."
You know what we should do? We should do one of these where we have to make Carlos look respectable. We should do undercover in a Christian conversion camp or something. So he can't have sex, he has to look presentable.
Oh, no, hold on. I will find a way. I will find a way to do that. And trust me, Carl, just like in Jurassic Park, instead of life, in this case,
Carlos will find a way.
We would leave you at that camp. We'd be back a week later, and you'd be standing over a crowd going, "I have the conch, I will speak."
This is no longer a conversion camp. This is now a...
Yeah, okay. I think it's time for outros.
Okay.
Yeah. On that
Yeah, it's
note,
already 11:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who would like to go first?
I'll go first. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks for another session of Leverage. We've got 2 games left in our 6-game season. Meanwhile, you can catch me Sunday nights on WEFT FM, 6 to 8 p.m., and also Monday nights from 7 to 8, Celtic Music and Radio Theater, respectively. Same station as Rascalon.
Right. Thanks, everybody. I had a fun time tonight. As mentioned earlier, I did the artwork for my character this week, and I do stuff like this. I do stuff like this on commissions all the time. And coming up eventually, I will get Caden the information on that, so that hopefully, if anybody's looking for something,
Yeah, I can go ahead and put any commission information in the description, and anybody who's looking to get some artwork can go ahead and contact Gas. Is the offer still open that if Martin and Richard want to give you character descriptions, that we may get more character art?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
If other people want other characters done, I will do them and try to get all of them done by the time we finish the series, so that everybody has a...
Yeah, so by the time we decide to do our final episode, we can have a little clip art show of all of our character art.
We're going to do a montage.
There you go.
I'll need to find some extremely cheesy 80s music.
Hey,
Hi!
See, hey, that's actually even better. That's exactly what I'd want.
Do you want cheap 80s Italian disco? Because I feel like you want cheap 80s Italian disco.
I mean, either that or like the worst vaporwave you can get me.
Okay.
All right. So, Ras, you want to go next, or you want to finish end?
I think I'll go ahead and end.
Okay, so
As always, guys, thanks for being here. You can find me over on the channel Olav Productions. We're going through the Mass Effect series right now. We're on Mass Effect 3. And don't forget, tonight, Friday night at 9:15 Central Time, we are doing game night with Rasslin and Caden and anybody else who wants to show up.
Gas Giant will be there almost always.
I actually may not be there. We'll see what happens.
Yes,
that's right.
remember
That's right.
Rascalon is not available this week.
Which brings me to This Saturday night, Over the Edge will not have a live episode, and unfortunately we could not book Noise Assembly to play the spot. So instead, we'll be taking an archived episode, a blast from the past, so you can all remember just how bad I was when I started this gig. Okay, not started. That would have been 2001. I don't have recordings of that, but we'll go back. We'll go back far. We'll go back and you can hear my squeaky little voice.
But are we going back to the future?
Laugh uproariously and listen to good music, because even then I knew what the hell I was doing. Mostly. That's Over the Edge, Saturday night at 10 p.m. Central on Community Radio for Central Illinois, 90.1 FM, WEFT Champaign. Streaming online at www.weft.org/listen.
Okay, eventually I will have to add the Olav Productions and the WEFT link in the description. I will do that when I have more than half a brain. That brings me to me. I will be streaming an episode of Blueprints, maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. It depends on when I wake up tomorrow. After that, I have gone ahead and dropped the money to get the deluxe edition of the Oblivion remake. I'm planning on streaming that, so have fun and join me to see how much weirder it is now that it's in HD. Next Tuesday we'll be Howling on the Void. We have no fucking clue what our topic is, so if anybody wants to suggest one, drop a comment, put it in the Discord. If you haven't joined yet, go ahead and join. If any of my brilliant co-hosts have an idea, go ahead and drop one into my DMs. And then, yeah, 2 weeks we'll have another episode of Leverage, and that should be it. Night, everybody.
Good night.
Not all.
Night.